Hey, yeah, could I get a cheese and tomato pizza, please? Yeah, medium-sized. Yeah, that's great. Could you just do one thing for me, please? Could you hold the cheese? Yeah, I don't need that, yeah. Could you do one more thing? Could you hold the tomato? Yeah, I know it's a bit unorthodox, but you know me. Could you do one more thing for me, please? Could you hold the flatbread? You know, like the pizza-y bit? Yeah, I don't really need that. All I really want is for you to take, like, 100 tea bags and, like, open them up and then, like, sprinkle all the tea goodness in the box. And I'll just take that. Hello? Hello? Oh, my God. It's the 5th time this month. Oh, my God. Oh, wow, hey! Whoa, hey, I didn't even know you'd be here! Welcome to my stream! I'm the fox that doesn't quit it, T. I'm glad you could make it. How's everybody doing? It's been an age, huh? Okay, first things first, I gotta apologize, but I ain't doing no typing with these. My paws are just a little too big for that, so if we were gonna get anything done, I've gotta switch to this little glove thing instead, but I hope you can move past that. Thank you everybody for coming! Okay, this is how this evening's gonna go. Basically, you've stuck by me through thick and thin while I've been doing all sorts of crazy stuff, disappearing for months at a time. I'm back, and it's amazing, and thank you so much for coming. So basically, what you're going to be able to do is just pick my brain for trivia, tips about, writing, music, questions about philosophy, pretty much anything you want. I'm all yours for as long as I'm here, so... I can't believe it either. Oh, also, I've got one more update for you. You might not recognize my beautiful curtains or my lovely bookcase in the back. That's because I've moved place, believe it or not. Yeah, our landlord was like, I know we're in the middle of a global pandemic and you've been living here for over a decade, but why don't you hightail it on out of here? And we were like, okay. So house viewing during a global pandemic was pretty darn crazy. But we're all safe and sound now. We've got a wonderful new abode for us. I don't live outside the bins anymore, which is, frankly, more than most foxes can say. So I'm pretty damn happy with the results. Just before we get to questions, I got a couple that were on Twitter and YouTube, and I'm just going to answer those first. I got 3 people asking me questions before the stream, but I got 5 questions. So I guess some people are being a little greedy, but I'm going to answer them anyway. So I guess your cup just runneth over, which is great. Okay, so Synth Martin on YouTube asked, will you at some point be producing the same kind of content as your previous channel? I would be able to tell if you were here, Synth Martin, but, foxes don't have the best eyesight when they're wearing, 90 degrees of foam and plastic, so if you aren't here, I'll be happy to answer your question. And the answer is... kind of? See, what was really weird about my last channel was I wanted to create a kind of cinematic universe around this character. A kind of T-nomadic universe, if you will. So basically, I had a character, I had, a setting for him, I had a backstory, there was all this weird mind stuff, mind-wipey thing going on, and filming just got really difficult, because it takes a hell of a lot more time and money than you'd imagine. And you don't have much money when you're camping out by the bins, because you're a fox. So that makes sense. So basically what I decided to do was channel that kind of creative energy into writing instead, because if you're filming, you're essentially limited by what you can put in front of a camera, or what you can conjure behind the scenes. Whereas with a sentence in a book, you can create an entire universe, and with one more sentence, you can utterly decimate it. So that kind of just shows you the immense range that you can have when you're not relying on what you can physically put in a space, because it all exists up here, which is kind of amazing when you think about it. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to concentrate on more real stuff, I'll be talking about music, and writing, and popular culture, and all of that kind of stuff. Maybe I'll do some shorts as well. But what I said at the at the introduction to my channel was, you can expect pretty much anything on here, and, you know, I think that rings true. I'd say you could expect pretty much anything. Anything. No, I'm joking. That sounds ominous. Okay, so Delta Wave on Twitter asked, when did you get the idea of writing She, and are you planning on writing any other books in the future? Well, I had the idea of writing a story in which the main character dies, and the entire point is, how would someone get over their death if they had the opportunity to? And I had that ages ago, but I never really had a good vehicle for it. And then, a couple of years ago, I sort of thought, well, I have a pre-existing character. If I can flesh out a backstory and create a mold in which it makes sense for someone to be in this position where they just want to get away from it all, and then be taken away from it all, but in the most terrible way possible. You know, it's like, people wouldn't... Oh my god, something's happened. Okay. Hey, Bork Salt! Thanks for taking up residence in the nearby bins. That's awesome. Okay, so I thought I'd subvert the expectations of this person who wants to just get away from it all because of how uncomfortable their environment is, but give them what they want in a way that means they have as much physical, spiritual, and emotional baggage as humanly possible, or factually possible, I guess, in this case. So that's how I got the idea of it. It was sort of the melding of the animal world and the human world. And as for whether I'm writing any books in the future, I am absolutely writing other books in the future. And I'm currently working on a project right now, which is... it's very, very different from what I'm doing right now. So different, I'm kind of scared to say anything about it, because... Oh, wow. I might live to regret even announcing that I'm working on something, but let's just say it's different. I hope people like it. I hope it reaches a stage where I feel comfortable even announcing it, like, officially. But if you stick around, I think you've got that much to look forward to at least. Thank you very much for your question, and thanks, Synth Martin, for your question as well. And the second question you asked was, and just to ask, how is the everyday life of a book author? And my honest answer to that is, I have no idea. If you ever meet one, I'd love to hear what they tell you. So there. Thank you for your question. Cyrex Axo Jaxo on Twitter. Oh my god, I really hope I pronounced your name correctly, because that's just a whole lot of X's. Like, I wouldn't expect that many X's in a name unless it was a URL taking you to a website where maybe you shouldn't be on it. But anyway, and Cyrex Axo Jaxo on Twitter asks, the best tea in the world? Which isn't the question. Like, if you've been around for any length of time, you know exactly what the best tea in the world is. Are you testing me, Satan? It's PG tips, alright? Next question. Ow, my nose! Oh, God. I'm gonna give myself a black eye if I'm not careful. And the second question you asked was, what's the most memorable album EP you've made? So I can't wait to see an enormous fight break out into the comments as people start to debate over the most memorable album EP that I've made so far. I mean, I honestly don't know what people think, because you don't really get formal reviews when you're an indie musician with such a small following. You just kinda, you know, you just kinda play it by ear. But I do have an answer for you, and my answer would have to be that I think my best album is my last album, which is She, which is a mini EP of a couple of tracks, because I think every song sounds distinctly She, you know? It's all got this little digital blueprint on it that just makes it feel like it's all one cohesive thing, which I worked really, really, really hard on, and I'm glad to see that people seem to like it too. So I'd have to say my most recent one. I think most people would say that as well. You don't want to say, oh, I've made my new album. By the way, it's not as technically proficient as my other albums. You know, like, why would you do that? You want to be going on the up and up, don't you? As for my favorite one, it's the first one. It's Hello World. Because I had to prove to myself that I even had it in me to make an electronic EP in the first place. And sprinkled throughout Hello World, if you go back and listen to it, you got like little nuggets of everything that I'd end up making in the future as well. You got like little electronic sort of Mass Effect-y bits in Martian Bus Stop, which then carried over into Star Map. You got like classical elements in track 14 Ice, which I made a whole EP about in Songs to Live To, which is entirely an orchestral EP. So I think Hello World is sort of as my introduction to the music world. It was where I found my legs. And if you want to walk, it's kind of important to have legs. Not that that's strictly necessary at all, obviously, but I think it helps. So yeah, I have to say that is my answer. And I've been concentrating so hard on my answers, I haven't even had the time to check out this awesome comment section. So I'm just going to go back and have a quick look at this. Oh my god, look at you all. Look at you all, you're beautiful. And I'm really sorry that there's not more going on this Sunday for you to be doing, but thank you so much for turning up. I seriously appreciate it. And thank you, Shift, as well. I'm so glad to hear you say that, because I listen to it to help me fall asleep too, and that makes me feel really weird. Like, authors don't go back to their own books and like read them over their heads as they're trying to fall asleep. Like, you don't go, oh, I love reading my own stories. What kind of monster would you sound like? But I'm detached enough from Star Map that I can listen to it, and it kind of feels distinct from me. Like, when I listen to it, I don't hear the edits anymore, and I don't see all of the instruments that it took to put it together. I just hear this abstract piece of music as its own entity. And I know I'm gonna open it to questions any second, but I just got one interesting thing to say about Star Map. I don't know how many of you know, but something really weird happened when I first released it on Bandcamp, which is an amazing website, by the way. Make sure you support your indie artists, and as so many of you have done on Bandcamp, and I super appreciate it. Seriously, thank you so much. I got this really weird notification one evening, and I clicked on it, and I was like, oh, someone bought Star Map. And just in case you don't know, the conceit of Bandcamp is that when you log on and you buy someone's album, most of the time you can put in any price you want. So you could buy it for like $1 or $1, or you could like, you know, kind of go crazy maybe. Go crazy maybe. And one person in the world decided to go a little head over heels barking nuts. And they bought Star Map, which is a single track. No artwork or no music videos or anything, because Bandcamp doesn't let you upload any music or anything other than the song itself if it's a single. It was just a single 5.5-minute track, and they bought it for £100, like, which is amazing. And I was like, instantly, oh my god, okay, I've got to find out who bought this track. Who is that kind of disposable income coming around? Give me a call sometime, jeez. So I tried to get in contact with them, because Bandcamp gives you email addresses of everyone who supports you and wants to find out what other stuff you're doing. Oh, my nose again. So I tracked him down. And I was like, hey, why did you buy my single for £100? What's going on? I want to know your life story. Like, I'll just sit here and listen to you for a couple of hours. That's amazing. And I got one reply back, one little note, and all it said was, "You're big in New York. Like you're really talented. Like, I love your sound. It's really cool. You're big in New York." And that was it. And I was like, okay. What the hell does big in New York mean? I've got to find out more about this person. So I emailed them again. Nothing. And that's the last I ever heard of. As far as I'm concerned, this person dropped off the face of the earth the second they sent that last message. And that was it. So apparently I'm big in New York, So that's pretty good. I'm not used to being much of a hot shot, but I'll take it. But yeah, I think there's a message in there somewhere. If anyone supports you to any capacity, if they look at something you do and they like it, if they send you a message, you have no idea what impact that can have on someone's life. Like, what impact you guys have had on my life already? Every time I see someone say they liked something I've done, that energy has been channeled straight into the next thing I've done. In a way, when I think it was Newton that said, I got there because I was standing on the shoulders of giants, which is basically like, don't give me all the credit. A credit is like a tributary that goes right the way back through every scientific endeavor that humanity has ever made, because it's all one slow march of progress. And in a way, I think everything I've done can very easily be attributed to every single thing that a kind individual or kind friend or kind family member has channeled into me. And I act kind of like a lightning conduit for that. And I can channel some of the things that I think of right the way back to one kind thing that someone did for me. And I can see where that ended up. So I think in a way, you folks have all made me, you know. And of course, because I'm a 6-foot-tall blue fox, I can say, you know, you folks have literally helped me make this character together and put it together in this platform. So I can say you've literally helped to make this, but I think you've literally helped to make me as well. And from the sounds of some people saying that I've helped them to join a certain infamous internet subculture involving anthropomorphic animals, unfortunately, I guess that kind of means that I've made a couple of you too. And oh my god, I don't know if anyone should be taking credit for that kind of thing. I think instead of credit, you know, it's blame. So, I accept the blame. I don't regret anything, honestly. You're welcome and I'm sorry, as I customarily say to those kinds of people. So I guess that's the pre-existing questions over and done with. Oh, hey Demetria. Oh, that's okay. Thank you for turning up. Oh my god, that was atrocious. That was the first public speaking that T ever did. And I think the panel went really badly. I mean, the Q&A was pretty good because I got a couple of one-liners in, but the panel itself, I just can't believe, oh my god. It was awful, but I hope I'm doing better now. Fingers crossed I'm doing better now. Comment down below if I'm doing better now. Like, comment, and subscribe if I'm doing better now. Buy a t-shirt if I'm doing better now. All that good stuff. No, don't. I don't have t-shirts. Don't worry about it. So I guess this is when I turn it over to you. You guys have stuck with me for so many years, sort of doing all these crazy little animation, music, writing projects. If there's anything you've ever wanted to know about me, this is your time. If you ask a question down below, I'll answer it to the best of my ability anyway. Just one thing quickly. Language? Careful about your language. I don't know how many people are under 18 in the comment section, so please respect that. I don't mind a little bit of cussing for emphasis if someone gets a little excited. You know, we all do that. Sometimes if you're chasing your tail for an hour and you finally catch it, you just want to let out an incredibly relieved you know, and that's not the end of the world. Just please respect, we may have people in this comment section that are under the legal age to be discussing stuff like that. So be respectful, don't bully each other. I haven't seen any of that so far, so thank you so much, my wonderful moderators. But yeah, so let's start with the questions. Oh, and thank you, PR. It's awesome seeing your progress over the years with your photography. You've done some amazing photography, and your videos are awesome. You know, every year when I look at your channel and see you come out with a new video, it's always a wonderful surprise. I'm joking. Thank you, Zill. Thank you for even tuning in, but all three of you. But thank you, because honestly, that panel it made me terrified for public speaking for quite some time afterwards, because I just thought, if you can muck something out that badly, like, I'm just gonna listen to what you gotta say again. Like, you've gone in front of a bunch of people claiming to be able to speak in front of people, and you can? It's like, okay, that's your, you know, hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. Sorry, I gotta finish the quote every time I start it. Okay, next. Oh god, the audio, don't you get me started on the audio equipment. Oh my god. See, I'm sorry for being a bit late in the stream, but as far as I'm concerned, once I made it here, at least you can hear me, and you can hear the music just fine. The audio equipment in that room? Oh, my ears still remember it like it was yesterday. God, it was agony. It was just sharp spikes of just, oh, horrible. And then we started speaking, and it got even worse. No, I'm joking. Okay, is there a release date for the book? Here's the thing. She is probably gonna be as big as a Game of Thrones, which ironically is one of the books that's propping my camera up right now. So it's gonna be such a big project, there's no way I'm gonna be able to release that, even the first volume, as a single book. So what I'm doing is, every act is going to become its own little paperback. And there'll be bonus artwork in it, and like little extras like a bonus glossary and character bios and all this stuff. But basically, each act or every 3 chapters is going to become its own little volume, which means each one will have its own art, which I think is really neat. But there's no hard deadline on that yet, because currently, all of the printing presses are in just as much of a nightmare during this global pandemic as all the authors are. But I'm hoping to get it out soon. I've got some stuff in the wings that'll hopefully tide you over until the first volume, Flounder, is officially out in hard copy. So I hope it can tide you over until then. It's a real nightmare to not be able to say when something's gonna be out, because usually I'd rather tease something when it's already finished, and it kind of already is. But I just hope you stay tuned. I'm really excited to tell you more about it if and when I know what's going on. Next question. Oh my god, there's so many good. Okay. Oh, thank you, Demetria. Do you drink a lot of Dr. Pepper? See it in background? No, I don't drink a lot of Dr. Pepper. Why would I? Dr. Pepper is the best soft drink, and I won't hear a word about it. Next question. Thank you for your question, Loki. Alright, so if you could live anywhere in the whole world, where would you live and why? That's a good one. I'd like to live in America, because I think the idea of the American dream is a magnificent ideal to strive towards, but at the same time, I wouldn't feel safe living in America. You know, when you get little school kids doing little drills where they have to hide under tables that are bulletproofed because they don't know who's going to be coming around the corner next with an AK. You know, regardless of what your political views are, there's serious structural fundamental problems with the American experiment, as we put it. So, I don't know. England's okay. I haven't been killed yet. You know, and fox hunting isn't illegal anymore, so that's good. You know, maybe if fox hunting stays illegal, I'll get a couple more years out of this gig before, you know, I get hit by a car or something. I don't know, we'll see. So currently Britland is my country of choice. But I haven't had much time to travel, you know. Being, you know, not the most financially endowed, students don't get to travel too much. Ex-students even less so, unless you can find a good gig, and if you can do that during a global pandemic, hit me up, you know. Let me know. But thank you for your question. I hope I answered it. PR Wolf, Dr. Pepper it's awesome. It's awesome. Okay, Luca Casarino. I really hope I'm getting these names right, because they're all awesome names. I see you all the time on Twitter, and most of you have better art, you know, you produce better stuff than I do. Why did you choose Maelstrom as your pseudonym? Okay, so first of all, I'm a pretentious douchebag, so if I'm going to do a pseudonym, there has to be at least 50,000 reasons why I pick a name. And, obviously it means something, you know, if you say it quickly enough, Maelstrom. A maelstrom is like a whirlpool, and it features prominently in, the Odyssey, which stars Odysseus trying to make his way back home for his family after years, you know, fighting in the Trojan War, and he had to recover with Calypso and all that stuff. So I like that there's water imagery in it. Moreover, it's kind of gender neutral-ish. Like, you wouldn't traditionally think of May as a boy's name or a girl's name. It's like kind of like a girl's name, but it's not spelt the same way as May is. So it's a bit more ambiguous about that. So it really just becomes, it's just a name. And like, you don't have any preconceptions about it. It's just, like T-LARC, it's just a platform, and it's the stuff itself that you either like or you don't. I've got this big thing about projects, which is, I'd rather not tie them to me as a person. Like, oh, you like my stuff I do, you must like me. Like, I can't stand that cult of personality stuff. I'd rather there just be books there, and you like some of these books, you don't like some of these books. Like, you like some of the things this person does, and you don't like some of the things this person does. I don't think trying to tie that morally or socially to who a person is healthy. And in the modern day, there are, like, quotes about, like, unhealthy attachments you can have to, like, internet personalities and all of this kind of stuff, which makes me incredibly uncomfortable. So Maelstrom is basically just like a dud name. It means nothing. That's kind of the reason I wanted to pick it in the first place. So there's some fancy pants, like, metaphorical meaning, but really, it's just a name. So you won't go to it every time you want to read a book. You'll just pick what stuff you like and pick what stuff you don't like. And that way it sort of doesn't become it doesn't blow up as its own thing. You know, it's more neutral that way. I hope I answered your question. Oh my god, these are piling up. I gotta get quicker. Okay. Looking at it, you read this card and then you refuse help. It's not a good Oh my god, okay, Loki. You have no idea how hard it can be trying to pick stuff up. Like, I'm already not the most dexterous person in the world, and all I've got are a set of gloves on right now. Try, when fingers are the size of your face, try and pick anything up. You know, sometimes I can't even, like, put my braces on, you know, and I wouldn't know where I'd be in the world without these. Okay, so, Cairo, I missed your face too. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Da-da-da-da-da. Oh, thank you, Timber the Dragon. Again, I'm so sorry that I've exposed you to this stuff, but you don't seem as traumatized as some of the other people, so... I guess you're welcome. You know, I'm very happy to introduce you to a culture which does contain some of the nicest, finest people I've ever met. And there's no sarcastic, like, mean intention behind that at all. There's no wit. It's not dry. It's not sardonic. I genuinely mean that. As much as you have to be careful online, and as much as all online communities have some stuff that really should just not exist, if you found solace or comfort or enjoyment or anything in this huge online community of disparate people with this one thing in common, I am very, very glad to hear that, and I am honored that I'm the one that introduced you to it. So thank you very much. Also, like, comment, and subscribe. No, joke. Okay. The leadership commitment of purity. The amount of hardware and software that had to work for that was nuts. 2 mics, CFD was too much. Yeah, I know, right? See, here's the problem, Hayu. It's not the big stuff that gets screwed up, because the big stuff is always the stuff you think about first. Like, if you think about all those terrible accidents with aircraft and stuff like that, it's never just an engine that dies. It's never just a wing that falls off, because no company would ever associate themselves with engineers that would do that. It's always just the little things. For some weird reason. I don't know why. It's always the little things that just fail. And that's the same with books as well. The big stuff, genuinely, we're going to talk about writing, the big stuff of world building and characters and themes, the big stuff is all easy. The little stuff, the sentence-to-sentence minutiae of making sure you've not used a word too often, and thinking about what kind of imagery you can incorporate and making sure pacing feels right when you say it out loud. It's the little stuff that drives you insane. Like, the big stuff, the fun stuff, is what everybody does, which is they build characters and whole worlds in their head, and sometimes they're talented enough to put it to the page by writing it as well, which is amazing. You know, frankly, that's even beyond my abilities. I say even, you know, it's well beyond my abilities. But the little stuff, like creating a universe for a story, is easy. And moreover, it's fun, and I recommend you try it. Like, the little stuff, actually doing it, that's the nightmare. If you figured out how to make the little stuff big, I suppose you've cracked it, really. You know, if you figure out how to do that, let me know. Oh, fair enough, Demetria. I just can't eat Dr. Pepper. Eat Dr. Pepper? I suppose you could eat it. If you froze it and put it in a slushy, you could eat it as well as drink it. It's one of those weird things. Ice you can kind of eat and drink, like sand. Like, do you eat sand or drink sand? Like, you can pour sand. Is it a non-Newtonian fluid? No. So is it liquid or solid? It's kind of just the thing, you know. It's weird. But yeah, I can't eat. I did it again. I can't drink anything that has the word diet or zero in it, because I can taste the aspartame and the artificial sweeteners that they use, and for some reason it's never quite right. It just never tastes right. I don't know why. I just can't do it. I'm focusing way too hard on these questions. It's going to take me 10,000 years to get through them all. I'm so sorry for everyone who's waiting, having to scroll back through the list. Okay, I love names a lot of me by now. I know, right, PR? Isn't it amazing? I've not encountered one time with someone's name where they've told me the story and I've been like, oh, well, that's boring. Like, they're always incredibly interesting stories. Some of them are deeply personal as well. Some of them have been, you know, homage to people in their lives that meant a lot to them. Some of whom are no longer here. it's incredible to find out just how much people can invest in what seems like an arbitrary thing initially until you dig deeper into it. Okay, here we go. Dr. Pepper Cherry. I don't know about Dr. Pepper Cherry. I'll try it. I'll get back to you about how much I like that. What's your favorite food? Since I'm a fox, am I obliged to say garbage? I'll say garbage. Garbage is my favorite food. If you want a serious answer, probably takeaway. Some Chinese takeaway or something. Something easy, because you're always kind of in the mood for Chinese takeaway, you know. Speaking for myself, anyway. Those prawn crackers are delicious. I could just eat them all day. Okay, next question. Oh, hello, Edward. How you doing? Glad to see you. What's your Hogwarts house? Okay, you've opened that can of worms now. Congratulations, bucko. So, I did it like a bunch of times, and every time I got a different house. And I was like, I'm kind of answering the same questions in the same way, so why am I getting different houses? So I just thought it was stupid. I don't believe in astrology either. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick, the one that none of the evil students are in. Like, you can say it's all just about personality and stuff, but one of the houses is, like, literally a melting pot for fascists and monsters and genocidal murderers, and the rest of them aren't. So, probably Gryffindor. I'm dull like that. The devil is in the details, isn't it? Yes, Luca Casarino, it absolutely is. Always. The details are all devils. But I don't know if all the devils are details. Kind of like a quadrilateral square kind of deal there, Oh, thank you, Pippin Paws. Oh, you're adorable and wholesome. See, I have no idea what I'm doing, so you're already doing better than me. Oh, here we go. Here's a question. How do you feel about the fact that the blue of your fur is the color I color picked on Photoshop to use on all my channel branding and PR artwork? Well, here's how I feel about it. My lawyers will be in touch. If it's not, taken down at the end of the day, you'll have hell to pay. So, it's not a threat. It's not a threat. I don't make idle threats. I just speak the truth. So, my lawyers will be in touch. Oh God. I didn't even have a punchline to that, because that attitude just genuinely makes me, like, shrivel up inside like a dead spider with its legs all clenched. But, some people are genuinely like that. Can you believe that? Can you imagine how much of a better world it would be if we didn't have, enormous companies, like, hawking over IPs around the world that were genuinely like that think like that? God, foxes wouldn't have to live in bins, for one thing. Here we go. I mean, you drink Dr. Pepper, so yeah, garbage is accurate. Oh, hey! For someone with a name like Imaginatively Unimaginative, I don't think you can talk. No, I mean, Dr. Pepper is the best drink. I'm sorry, Zill, but I am prepared to fight and die on the hill for this. You cannot name a better one, and I know you can't, so that's not even a question, but I gave you an answer for it, so you're welcome. I take cash, credit, or check. Ooh, something's happened. Hey, Cosmos Snow Mew! Thank you for taking up residence in the nearby bins. I'm sorry, some of them are a bit smelly, but I'm sure you'll get used to it. I'm still getting used to it myself. Oh, here we go. What's your favorite book story out there? By Fuwo. Hiya, Fuwo! My favorite book and story out there changes almost by the minute, because I'm always thinking about what details interest me about books and what characters I love the most, so I can kind of pilfer the best bits and put them all in my own work, because that's secretly what all writers are really doing. They can say they're not, but they totally are. But if I had to go for my favorite book story right now, oh, that's such a tough one. I'm not gonna just give a stupid answer like I do some of the other questions. I genuinely want to give this the best answer I can, so I'm gonna think about it for a second, because I genuinely want to recommend it, whatever book I pick. Okay, here we go. No, okay, here we go. Okay, I know it's a little bit of a weighty tome, but Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Oh my god, it's such an amazing book. It's a bit thick. It's a bit THICC. It's a bit chunky, but its characters are fantastic. There's a little faux Sherlock-like detective work going on there. It's incredibly human. The main character has so many amazing, fascinating facets to him, and everyone around him can be seen as sort of allowing him to sort of dig deeper and deeper and deeper into his psyche. Everyone represents an aspect of what humanity is, what it can be, what it should be. It's such a good book. I read it like 5 times, like just in a row. Like, I genuinely can't get enough of this. If there were 500 books in this series, I would just read all 500 of them. So, Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I kind of feel embarrassed as a writer to even be writing fiction that will never be as good as Crime and Punishment. Because if you can't go big, go home, right? But I guess you gotta do what you can. I hope that answers your question anyway. Yeah, Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. And while I'm at it, the double's pretty good as well. It's not as long. It's like in a short story along with notes from Underground. It gets packaged together quite a lot. But The Double, which is also a movie that Richard Ayoade directed, it's a fantastic little short nugget of a story. Little beautiful golden nugget of a story. Really, really recommend it. But I can't give anything away because it's such a short story. You'll just see if you can find it online because it's copyright free by now. You really like it. Next question. Oh, I just realized I shouldn't sing to any of the songs that are in the background because there's a delay, huh? So I'll just look even more insane than I already do. Oh dear. I'm English, that's my excuse. Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Okay, I'm English, Zill, which means technically I'm part of your forefathers. So if you're a garbage son, that just means I'm garbage dad. So hi, garbage dad here. Do your homework, brush your teeth, all that good stuff. That's how I know I'm garbage, because I made garbage, which is you. So yeah. You're welcome. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway. Oh my god, Timberwolf, how did you come up with the character of T? Well, T was kind of just supposed to be a platform like Gorillaz. Like, you know how Damon Albarn and all the musicians, they're kind of not lit in the background when they play live? And they have, like, animatics and stuff that actually represents the characters. And they have their own voice actors as well. T was supposed to be mine, so whenever I wrote or made music, it would be expressed on the T-LARC platform, and T-LARC would just be this big, bouncy, vibrant, amazing, stupid, illiterate, oblivious fox that didn't know what was going on around him that lived in the bins, you know. So, I don't know about you, but that experience is incredibly relatable to me. So, but really, I just wanted, I wanted something recognizable. A blue fox, I genuinely thought when I made him that it was a very original idea. Now, I don't know how long you've been on the internet, but, blue foxes are only surpassed in how common they are by red foxes. So that should tell you everything you need to know about that. Oh, and just in case people wanted to know about the eyes, there's a very interesting story about the eyes. If you go and look at, I don't know if it's in Robin Hood, but if you go back and look in the Jungle Book, and also a couple of other depictions of foxes, like the Fox and the Hound, for some reason Disney animators with foxes, they like to put these little dark colorations around their eyes that they don't actually have in real life. Like, foxes don't actually look like that. But for some reason, I'm going to see if I can face the camera head on. There we go. For some reason, Disney animators like to just include this little, classic little, eye patch, darker mark around their eyes. And it's around the eyes of the wolves in the Jungle Book as well. And I don't know why they did that for canids, but I think it looks pretty good. And, you know, it also covers the actual bags under my eyes right now. So, you know, that's just a little makeup tip. That's why mascara was invented, if you don't know. Mascara and eyeliner. Covers all them bags. Every bag. Every bag. Sorry to see you, Thornburn Pa. Thank you so much for tuning in, though. Yeah, garbage, Dad. Okay, next question. What do you make of Christopher Paolini's books? Okay, syntax Citra or Citra? I'm so sorry with these names. I'm atrocious. I'm so sad. I got all of the books. I got Aragorn when it came out. I got Eldest. I got Brissinger when Brissinger was supposed to be the last book in the series. Yeah, that didn't last very long. And then I got Inheritance, you know, pre-ordered from the day that it came out. And I think they're okay. Like, I was still developing as a, I was still developing my kind of my taste and stuff when I was reading that series. But I never thought they were bad books. It's just going back now, you can kind of, like, pull sort of strands and bits and pieces and be like, oh, I can kind of see why this is kind of Star Wars-esque and all that kind of stuff, you know. Oh, shit, thank you so much. That's $13.19. That is going straight in my tea caddy. I will buy PG tips. I will shower myself in PG tips. I won't send you the video because that would be unwatchable, but I'll definitely do it. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Oh my god, I didn't even know anyone was going to use that link. If anything about this layout, like, isn't working right now, I do apologize, but this is the first stream I've ever done. I've never actually even tested it. So if it is working flawlessly, you probably haven't noticed it, which is the best compliment you could give me. So thank you again for that amazing tip, and for showing that, like, the display works. That's like 2 tips in 1. That's incredible. Thank you so much. To go back to the question about Christopher Paolini, Aragorn is kind of like Tolkien meets George Lucas's Star Wars, with like a smattering of other stuff. I think the best bit about it is, like, I don't know, what is the best bit about it? Is that I was able to read from beginning to end. I was never bored. I always liked the characters. There are a lot of series that are more successful than Aragorn that you can't even say that about. So I think that's not an achievement to be sniffed at. If you can take people through like 2,000, 3,000 pages of crazy stuff happening, and people never get bored, they never hate what's going on, they always continually want to stay up to date, they want to follow what's going on with the author on the website, I think that's a pretty big achievement. I got a lot to learn from Christopher Paolini, but hopefully I'll get there one day. What do you think about him? Do you like him? I think he's done like some short story stuff since, starring Angela the Witch, which I don't even know what to think about that. You know, I haven't picked up the book. If it's worth a shot, maybe I'll give it a look, but I don't even know. Oh, thank you, Edward Paddock. I genuinely don't know what song it is, but I will go back and, you know, retrospectively, like, I'll comment, like, oh, thank you, it was this. So, thank you very much. This is all from a Hello World, by the way, because it's all in sequence. So, it'll be on Hello World if you want to look for it. You can get it for free as well, on SoundCloud. You can download the album for free, I think. It should be there for free, so. Woo! He got me into devouring books. Yeah, I know, right? Look, say what you want about Paolini. The storylines may not be the most original. The language stuff may not be as precise and refined as Tolkien, who spent his entire life, like, devouring books on language and studying it. But they're immensely readable. You know, like 50 Shades of Grey is one of the best-selling books of all time. Is it because it's one of the greatest, you know, like, works of art of all time? No! But it employs something that thousands of better books don't do, which is it's readable, it's digestible, there's something just iridescent about it that just makes you want to pick it up and keep reading. And I'm not talking about 50 Shades of Grey this time because I haven't read it, and believe me, I will not give that woman money, and I will not pick it up and read it myself. But there is something about 50 Shades of Grey and Dan Brown novels and Christopher Paolini and hundreds of thousands of, like, mass market, like, fiction authors that they know what they're doing. There's something about that need to pick up a book and read a chapter and read a chapter and read a chapter that these authors just know. They just zone in on and they just figure it out. So you can say what you want about them, but they get that very, very, very right. And it's a very lucrative lesson to learn in the industry. Like, if people read your books and they really like them and they keep buying them, you've essentially done all of your work as an author. Like, I don't really know how much more you want to accomplish on top of that. You can try and change the world for the better, but, you know. I mean, only chumps really think you can do that, huh? I'm still gonna keep trying, but ultimately, I think to a certain extent, if people read your books and they genuinely like them, you're kind of already changing the world for better in a small way, so you can't really lose. Ooh, Pebble in the Sky by Isaac Asimov. Since Martin, I might have to check that out. I have actually got a short story collection by Isaac Asimov that's like 900 pages long, but I don't know if that's in there. So if it's not, I'm going to see if I can find it. Thank you very much. Okay, here we go. Okay, sorry, Fuwo. I'm going to see if I can dial the music down a little bit. Where is the music? Okay, here we go. Apologies if I've ever been hard to understand in this stream. It's all very new to me, but I am doing my best. There we go, how about that? 5 degrees less, and I'll talk a little louder as well, just in case you can't hear me, but okay, here we go. No problem. Imaginatively unimaginative, but design you came up with is very unique. Oh, thank you, Zell! Thank you so much! See, the reason you're awesome is because, you know, you drew my character twice at a time that I didn't think, you know, anyone would even be interested in the design at all. You, like, drew 2 amazing pieces of fan art for it, and I was like, oh my god, like, I didn't think there was a ton of stuff in there, but Zill brought out, you know, like, features that I didn't even think were interesting at the time. And I was like, oh my god, maybe there's something here after all. Oh my god, Pippin, thank you so much! Thank you, Pippin Boss! Sorry, there's so much to concentrate on. I don't know what's going on. This is all crazy. But yeah, thank you so much, Zill. I'm gonna have to get a commission from you one day. Like a proper one. Like, I'm gonna think long and hard about it, but I definitely want to pay you back for giving me all that awesome artwork. Because I really appreciate it. And I see some people in here that have also given me, fan artwork, and I just have to say thank you so much. And there's only one reason it's not hanging up behind me, and that's that it's very difficult and expensive to print, like, fan artwork, and, like, to last. Like, not just, like, on an A4 sheet, but, like, to do it justice and put it on a proper panel and everything. But I'm gonna be working on it, and hopefully I get a couple of those up if I do another one of these. Ooh, here we go. Here's a question. What's your favorite movie soundtrack, either as a whole thing or just one specific track? Well, Hellraiser, there's only one answer to that question. Genuinely, if you look in your hearts, all of you, I think you kind of know what it is. And it has to be Howard Shore's soundtrack in A Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings. Not The Hobbit. To completely discount The Hobbit and all the ancillary stuff, but just the original trilogy by Peter Jackson, Fran Walsh, and Philip Boyan, with a soundtrack by Howard Shore. There's something so amazing. There's something he had to do, which is he had to marry all of these different civilizations. He had to give them all each their own instruments and their own sound. And he had to make sure it all sounded like it came from the same world, but that it never confused people about which aspect of the world each individual track was coming from. And it's an incredibly rich tapestry that on its own sounds beautiful. You can sit back of an afternoon and just, like, listen to the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, and there are some things that'll make you cry, and there are some things that'll make you laugh, like the music that plays when Merry and Pippin go off with that dragon question mark firework and set it off. Oh, spoiler alert. But yeah, it taught me about leitmotifs, like little repeating, like, themes of notes that get sort of transmogrified and build and get smaller and change in scale depending on what the composer's trying to get across. And it's just so genuinely, stunningly beautiful how he weaves all of these sounds across 3 incredibly long movies. And I mean, if you get the extended edition like I've got, each of those movies is like 4+ hours long. And I think music genuinely is a big part of why it never actually feels that long. It's so beautiful. If anyone hasn't either watched Lord of the Rings or heard the soundtrack, I'd have to recommend watch it and then listen to the soundtrack afterwards, because as a lover of film, like as a serious lover of television and film, more film than television, I've never encountered a better soundtrack from individual tracks to its entirety than the Lord of the Rings soundtrack by Howard Shore. And if anyone has a better one, I genuinely would love to hear it, but I don't think you'll find it, because I kind of been looking ever since and I haven't been able to find it either. Good luck to you, though, you know. So, yeah. Shift, PG Tips, or how to get it. Yeah, PG Tips, it's the best. There is nothing better. Sorry. No, I'm kidding about the whole tea thing, by the way. You know, everyone has their own taste in tea. There's nothing wrong with any other kind of tea. But PG Tips is the best. Have you read any Douglas Adams, like The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? P.R. Wolf. Here's the thing. I love everything about The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but I couldn't get into the writing, like, when it was going on. Oh, hey! Hey, Corvera. If I mispronounce your name, feel free to, you know, unsubscribe and throw it back in my face and go, oh, you mispronounced my name? I'm not staying around here. I'm so sorry if I did. But all of these names are so amazing. And I'm half blind, of course, because, you know, wearing all this fur and plastic. But yeah, no, P.R. Wolf. I wanted to get into them. There's something about the writing that I can't read. And I don't think it's because it's bad at all. I think it's because I come from too similar a place as the author. Like, there's just something about it that makes me feel, when I read it, like, this is written by an author, not, like, this is a narrator in a world. Like, there's just something about it that's not... Terry Pratchett is another one. I don't know if anyone reads Terry Pratchett, but, rest in peace. I think he passed away some time ago. He was struggling with Alzheimer's, I believe. But his catalogue of work is ridiculous. Like, I think it rivals Tolkien in just the sheer scale of world building that he's put into his universes, and it's amazing. And even Rhianna Pratchett, I think it's his niece, has worked on Tomb Raider and many game projects as well. So there's just enormous universe and world building going on. But I can't get into any of his books, and I'm not entirely sure why. The way they're written just doesn't gel with my ability to suspend my disbelief and get into the world. And I kind of wish I knew what it was, so I'd be able to either turn it off, or like dial it down, or do what I can. I still haven't been able to figure it out. I just know for some reason I just can't quite penetrate it. Not like that. Oh my god. But yeah, I don't know what it is. I know he's a great author, and so many people that I know, absolutely, they grew up reading Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Like, that was their way into, like, literature. Or the movie, which had, it had Stephen Fry in it, which is like, it doesn't get more British than Stephen Fry. He's classic as it comes. And I think it had the late Alan Rickman in it as well. Again, rest his soul. Playing, I think it was Marvin the Martian or someone. Like, how could you go wrong with a cast list like that? Apparently it did go wrong. I haven't actually seen it, but I've seen clips, and, you know, it doesn't look spectacular, but maybe the movie is bigger than the sum of its parts. I don't know. Thank you for your question, though. Syntax. Yeah, syntax. That's exactly what I was saying. I don't know why people would want to read, like, a short story about the witch from Aragorn. Why would you do that? Especially since the whole point is that she darts around the universe doing all this crazy stuff, like... Oh, Fuo! Thank you very, very much. That's $11.84 I will be tossing in the old tea caddy. That'll be going on PG Tips and wonderful goodness. And in reality, all of this money will be going towards future projects, like printing Volume 1, and going into music equipment and all of that stuff. So, anytime I put out new stuff, it is entirely because of people like you. So, thank you very, very, very much. And I wish I learned how to properly thank people who do stuff like this, because I'm kind of a little amazed that it happens at all. I kind of got nothing, but just from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. going back to syntax, Seicher's question, yeah, I wouldn't read it either. What I would read is I'd read Aragorn again, because I guarantee if you go back from to the beginning again, there are so many details that none of us really picked up on the first time round that you really need to just bust through, like with George R.R. Martin's A Song of Fire and Ice. Like, it's one of those series you gotta kind of blitz through when they're all out and you got them in front of you. But the short story, maybe it's just for the diehard fans. I don't know. I might look up one or two of the stories and just see if it's worth just like sifting through, maybe. But I don't know. Hellraiser, what's your favorite instrument to play compose? Piano, cause I got the hands for piano. I don't know. Whenever I hold a guitar, it never quite feels right. I think I got kind of smallish hands, which I don't know. It makes it kind of difficult to reach some of the frets sometimes. Like, it feels like I'm struggling when I'm playing the guitar, but when I'm playing the piano, it kind of just feels like an extension of myself. Like, when I express myself on the piano, I can just kind of let go, and my body just sort of knows what it's doing, which has never happened with any other instrument before, so, you know. But at the same time, other instruments do challenge me more, because I can't turn myself off when I'm playing guitar. Like, every movement has to be deliberate. So when I'm composing on the guitar, I feel like I get more done, because on the piano, I think if you get too comfortable with an instrument, or just with, you know, like an object, oh, hey, Kara! Welcome to the bins! There's no way out. The dog catchers will be here soon. Thank you for joining us. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, I completely forgot what I was doing. What was I talking about? I've completely blanked. Do you ever have that moment where you just completely blank for a couple of seconds and you have no idea where you are or what's going on or why you don't have any pants on? Yeah, same here. It's so bizarre, isn't it? Anyway, next question. And I was joking about the pants. Yeah, favorite instrument. Yeah, I think it's important to always challenge yourself. And I think piano is my favorite one to compose with, but you can get too comfortable with your environment. And that's why some bands, a couple of albums in, like Radiohead, they toss out all of the stuff they're doing and they're like, okay, I'm going to make an album, no guitars. It's going to have no guitars in it, except like a track or two tracks. And it's going to be like post-industrial, it's going to be like post-rock, it's going to be like ambient, and nobody wanted them to make it. But I think in their history they had to make an album like that, because they had to prove to themselves that they could do it. Like, they had to get out of the rock band label that people were trying to pigeon themselves into. So I think maybe for the next project I won't use piano, and I'll see how that turns out. Because I think the last thing you need when you're being a musician or being an artist is to get comfy with something, you know. Oh, hey, Overwarder! $12? Oh my god, thank you so much! Think of how much tea that's gonna buy. I mean, potentially too much tea. I'm starting to get a little worried right now, because you can actually overdose on tea. You can overdose on water if you have enough of it. So I'm starting to get a little concerned, but at the same time, thank you very, very much. If you got a question, stick it down below. Hopefully I'll get around to it. If it takes me 10 hours to get through these questions, I will get around to it, and that's a promise. Thank you very much. One act of kindness at a time. 100% agree, Demetria. Every act of kindness that ever existed comes from the seed of someone else's kindness. And from one root to another, ultimately, if you take it back, I think you'd come, ultimately, throughout all the generations and throughout all of time and throughout all the war and pain and suffering and famine, I think if you looked back through one vein of kindness far enough, you'd get to the very first person that ever existed. So you could say things like hate and war connect us all, but I don't think that's true. I think it's kindness, ultimately, that connects us all. And I know that sounds like a piece of incredible philosophical sophistry, but I don't think it is. Ultimately, if you gotta believe in something, you can either believe in war and pain and all this stuff, or you can believe in kindness. And I think believing in something... Oh, thank you, Carver! Sorry, look at me blabbering. I think if you believe in anything, you will be more inclined to think about it. And if you think about kindness more on a daily basis, you will be more inclined towards kindness in your daily activities, towards your fellow... I was going to say fellow humanity and all that, but what would I know about that? I'm a fox. Your fellow foxes, how about that? Okay, what about your fellow animal kingdom? Ultimately, if we're going to branch out wide enough, every single one of us is related to a certain extent, you know. From the smallest amoeba to the largest blue whale, we're all alive, ultimately. So let's do what we can, let's do what we can to keep it that way. And have a hell of a time while we're doing it, right? It makes sense to me. Oh, thank you, Shift. Congrats on your album release as well, I saw. I hope you had a ton of fun making it. Because music can be a real slog sometimes. I've had some albums that were just hell to make. So I hope it was fun for you. I hope it challenged you as well, in ways that nothing else has challenged you. And that you grew from it, because music has definitely helped me grow a lot. Delta Wave! $13 in the old tea caddy. Thank you kindly. This tea caddy is now on the verge of busting open and breaking and spilling tea all over the damn place, so I'm gonna have to get a bigger lid for it right away, but thank you very, very much. Oh, sorry to hear that, Pippin. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I'm just a fox. Okay, next question. What are your thoughts on movie adaptation? Okay, movie adaptation is almost all scenarios are terrible. In events like The Godfather and Lord of the Rings, directors pick up on one little spark of dynamite and explode it somehow. There's some kind of creative spark that they'd latch onto that carries them through the production process. But the vast majority of movie adaptations you've ever seen, I guarantee, they were not as good as the works that they're derived from. Because the works that they've derived from, to a certain extent, were books because books were the best format to tell that story in. You can be in a character's head in the same way when you read a book that you can never be when something's on the screen. Even if it's being narrated over, it's never the same. I think books just have a certain advantage and a certain closeness with the characters that you can't achieve on film, just not because one's better than the other, but because the two mediums are just incredibly different. Now, that being said, if we didn't adapt one medium to another, we wouldn't have some of the most famous and successful productions of all time. There are definitely some books that were adapted to film that are better in film, that suit, or at least the kind of the changes they've made to suit the medium have made them more enjoyable or easier to repeat view or repeat watch, But that said, there are some that are just real clunkers. Like, I'll never forgive the Aragorn movie, for example, because, oh my god. What were they thinking? I'm sorry if I clipped the mic there, but, what were they thinking? And they had Jeremy Irons doing this wig? Oh my god. Oh my god. And Percy Jackson. I haven't even read the Percy Jackson books, and I feel offended by what they did to the characters in that damn movie. That the author allegedly threw back in the producers' faces and told them, I won't sanction this. If you send this out here, you will lose the fans. They will not like this. And the producers went and did it anyway. So I think that is the worst side of what happens when you try and do adaptations from either the stage or the book to the screen. But on the other hand, it makes some good stuff too, so, who am I to complain? I'd say if you're going to do it at all, you've got two ways of doing it. You've got Christopher Columbus, or you've got Stanley Kubrick. Christopher Columbus was criticized with the first two Harry Potter movies because critics felt that it hewed too closely to the book. Essentially, chapter by chapter, he kind of just did the book. And the pacing kind of felt that way, and the dialogue was it was alright. But that was the criticism that the films received. He essentially just made the book again, but on the screen. Stanley Kubrick, on the other hand, when he adapted Stephen King's The Shining, made something that critics, largely loved. They thought it was fantastic, and I happen to agree. I think it's a fantastic horror film. But Stephen King kind of hated it. And he's liked other adaptations since that hewed closer to the book. But Stanley Kubrick did not give the slightest hint of a slither of a thread of a damn what the book author thought of his adaptation. The only thing he thought of was, how do I take this premise and these characters and this and that and this, and how do I string them together into something great? And I genuinely think he achieved that. And I guess sometimes to make the greatest adaptations, you have to adapt them as if the book doesn't exist. And I know this is really weird sounding, considering that you literally need the book, and the characters to adapt something. But I think you have to do it with a love for the original, without feeling like you're ever beholden to the original. Genuinely, I think that's the only way to make a production that can equal or surpass its literary equivalent. So I hope I've answered your question, and if anyone wants to be at the next TED Talk, they can find me. But I am taking way too long on these questions, so hopefully I'll try and speed it up. Can I post my favourite Lord of the Rings soundtrack trivia? Absolutely, Hellraiser. I know that was probably an hour ago, but as long as... Don't post links if you can help it, and don't ask me to click anything, because I can't click on anything. So... Did you know PG tips used to stand for pre-digestive, as it was meant to help people who were struggling with digestion? Timber the Wolf, that is fascinating. And the digestive biscuit was also so named because it was supposed to help you with digestion. I mean, they also thought that stuff like Coca-Cola, which used to be made with the same plant as the cocaine is produced from, is refined from, also helped with various maladies, and that ketchup as well originally wasn't a condiment, it was a tonic that people used to take, like medicinally. So people used to believe all sorts of crazy stuff. But if it means that you can drink ketchup and Coca-Cola all day long, then, sign me up. I'd have that all day long. Ooh, maybe try the radio show. Maybe, Corver. I'll have a look at the radio show. I'll see what it's got. Zill, I would love to come on one of your Friday streams sometime. The only problem is, you're streaming at a time when even the foxes in England are asleep. And coming from me, who never sleeps anyway, that's seriously saying something. So, if I can make it sometime, I'd love to be on there. I can watch you, like draw a unique theme for the week, like if it's puppets or mascots or superheroes or anything. Unfortunately, I'm just never around to see the darn things, but I always see them get posted on Twitter, and they always look amazing. I don't know, we'll see if we can figure something out, because that does sound like fun. Let's go down. The problem is that some people deserve kindness more than others, and that's coming from a guy that used to help everybody. I definitely think that some people perhaps are easier to give kindness than other people. See, it's tough. Because the people that you least want to give kindness to, in a way, are probably the people that need kindness the most. But that doesn't mean that necessarily I'm going to say that you should go give them kindness anyway. You can't compel one person to be kind to another person for any reason. Like, kindness has to be on its own merits, or it's not kindness at all. It's tricky. It's very difficult. What I'd say to that is that everybody deserves kindness, provided they haven't given you a good reason as to why they don't. Like, it's like giving people a chance. Everybody deserves that first chance. If you're coming at them as a blank slate, everybody deserves a chance. If they squander that chance, from that moment onwards, it's entirely your business as to what you do. But I think initially, if you've been given no reason to mistrust someone, or to stay clear of them, and it's completely neutral, I think everybody deserves that olive branch of kindness. And if they take that olive branch of kindness, and they snap it over their leg, and they throw it in their fire, and they take your marshmallow, and they take your branch, and they shove the branch and marshmallow together, and they hold it over the fire, and then they eat that marshmallow slowly, drippily in front of you, I think you have the right to never give them another marshmallow again. I mean, yeah, so exaggerated metaphors out of the way, I hope that answered the question. Oh, it wasn't even a question. Okay, I'm now getting to the point where I'm answering questions that don't even exist. So I think either nausea, dehydration, or the drugs are starting to get to me. Ooh, DJ Jess, hey, how you doing? Your art's awesome on Twitter. I see it all the time. I think an underrated movie adaptation would be Treasure Planet. It's got a neat spin and plenty of emotion. See, does that count as a movie adaptation, though? Because I know that it was based on Treasure Island to a certain extent. But I haven't read Treasure Island, so I don't really know it. When I watched it as a kid, I kind of just remember it sort of being its own thing. But I thought it was great fun in the cinema. Like, some of the special effects, like the 3D effects, the CGI was groundbreaking at the time. I know it didn't perform well, but, you know, after Disney's Renaissance, you were never going to do as well as those initial movies. I kind of wish people had given it more of a chance just on its own terms. Because the central relationship between robotic no-leg guy and American hair-coiffed guy that sails in the air, that central... I'm so sorry I don't remember the character names, but that's genuinely all I can think about when I think of those two characters. That relationship works. Like, you could do anything else in this world, but that relationship is completely solid, and that completely sold the movie for me. Maybe I have to check it out again sometime. If anyone hasn't seen Treasure Planet, I definitely recommend it, because it's just got the most adorable little, like, flubber-esque monster in it. That'd be worth seeing for that alone. Hello, it's Arcabarco. Tea! How are you? I hope you brought your tea. I can't drink mine, obviously, because I've only got a plastic mouth, but make sure you keep yourself hydrated. Hey, Jason, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. It's Sunday evening, so, you know, during a global pandemic, I hope you're doing as well as you can possibly be doing in the current climate. Oh, Hellraiser, that's a good point. My favorite part in Fellowship of the Ring, Aragorn swears an oath to protect Frodo. Later in Return of the King, as they charge into the Black Gate, the chorus sings in the same words in Sindarin. I had no idea that was even a thing, but that is absolutely amazing. Did you learn that on the special edition? Because I got the DVD normal edition, the DVD special edition, the Blu-ray normal edition, and the Blu-ray extended edition back here, and I never even knew that was a thing. So I have genuinely learned something absolutely fascinating right now. Oh, damn it, if only I spoke Sindarin. I had a Welsh friend at uni who, whenever she spoke Welsh, it always sounded like Elvish to me, because Tolkien, like, took bits and pieces and sounds from the Welsh language, because they sounded so, like, beautiful and sort of flowery and wonderful. So maybe she'd be able to tell me. She might even know some of the words. Corvus, so why the name T-LARC? I mean, you gotta have a name. And if it doesn't have a dash in the middle, what's the point? But on a serious note, T-LARC is what it is. Like, what does T-LARC mean? T-LARC means what you want it to mean. Maybe it means, you know, like, introspective, interesting, entertaining. Maybe it means ditzy and annoying. I don't know, it's kind of up to you. T-LARC can mean whatever you want it to mean, really. What does it mean to me? It means I had a crazy idea for a character a couple of years ago, just coming out of uni, and there was an immense amount of interest and love around this character that eventually literally brought him to life, which is why you can see him in the fur right now. That's what he means to me. And I'm still kind of stunned that he's real, to be completely honest with you. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of am a giant 6-foot-tall fox. That's blue, with yellow eyes, and a mohawk that doesn't blink. But the not blinking stuff is optional. I can actually obviously blink. I just blink the same time you do. How's it going, Aquabarca? It's going great. How's it going with you? Happy Sunday. Zum Sonntag, as they say in Deutschland. Okie dokie, next question. Are you gonna get it back into making skits on YouTube? Cairo? I would love to. I'm gonna see if I can do that soon. The only thing is, filming is gonna be kind of difficult, so I'm not gonna say, like, I'm not gonna commit myself to any projects now. I'm gonna do what I can when I can, and that's all I can say about that. But stay tuned. Hopefully you'll be able to see some awesome stuff coming out pretty soon. Do you keep in contact with Dojo Dingo, as you did some videos with him? T-LARC, been missing him as well. Edward Puddock. See, here's the thing. When I went to MFF, I did 2 interviews. And I did one of them with Ascari Husky, which was very fun. And Twister Bonuski was there as well in the room, and he gave me a big hug, and that was amazing. And the other was with Dojo, and I had no idea what was going on, but Dojo was getting into very big trouble on social media at the time. And I don't mean big as in, like, there was some drama going on. People, like, didn't like him for whatever reason. Like, there was big drama, like breaking convention rules and, like, serious, like, stuff that I was like, oh my god. I read it days later when I was back from the convention. I was like, oh my, how did I not know that was going on at the time? So I don't think many people have heard from him since MFF. And I still to this day don't know if he actually broke the rules that people were saying he broke. But I mean, I hope the guy's okay. Ultimately, you know, like, I think the rules he broke, it wasn't him being a monster or anything. I think maybe he misunderstood them, or he didn't know what was going on. I don't know. I wish I could help you, buddy. I think there were some people who knew him better, though. Like, I think there's an artist called Sinister Vibes, who's got, like the screen character, and I think she was the one who was boarding with him in the hotel at the time. So I think she'd know more about the situation, honestly. But, you know, I hope he's doing alright wherever he is. Just for the record, Shift, Undertale has a huge impact on my view of kindness. Ultimately, it's about what one can handle in their life and how much they can see into mischief. Definitely the mischief part. Undertale is the most mischievous game ever released. And you can have me on record as saying that, because the mischief is built into the UI. How many games can say that? Seriously. Imaginatively unimaginative. Treasure Planet was purposefully killed by Disney. I know, isn't it terrible? I saw a couple of online documentaries that were made about it. I mean, Michael Eisner is just a bit of a monster. Who's to say that it couldn't have been the biggest hit of the 20th century if only they'd, you know, not murdered it in its sleep? Crazy, right? I mean, it seems crazy to us, but who knows? Maybe they knew some stuff that we didn't. I don't know. Okay, next question. Jason Husky, maybe I should speak Welsh with you to give you those vibes. Well, you can speak Welsh with me as much as you want, Jason. I genuinely would really appreciate that, because the Welsh language is beautiful. Just don't expect me to say anything back, because, you know, I tried to speak French and German, and I figured this amazing thing that I can either speak French or German actually reasonably well. But I can't do both, and if I try to learn both, I end up borrowing one language's words from another language's words, and, like, smooshing them together like some Flemish, Belgian, like, just madness. So, I ain't the best at no languages. I do my best, but I ain't the best. Or even competent. I try. I speak one language reasonably well. I mean, you know, isn't that okay? I've been getting by on it so far. And I got a degree from it, so I can at least verify that I can speak it. I think I could even write it if only I had paws that could type dexterously. I'll work on that, though. Okay, next question. Oh, Corver, if you ever narrate she in T-LARC's voice especially, I would buy that instantly. Here's the thing about that. I really want to start recording the vocals on it. I did a vocal test for Chapter 1 of Flounder just a couple of days ago. I don't have a good setup for recording audio. Like, I live literally on a main road, and anytime there's a car or a motorcycle going past, there is no amount of foam in the world that's going to stop you from hearing it. And I don't have a dedicated setup here, so I really want to record some kind of audio version of the book. Because not only you, but PR Wolf and a couple of other people have expressed interest in it. But I can't see that happening until I get a setup that allows me to record properly. Because these are going to be pretty long books. You don't think 65,000 words is long to speak. But if you properly time it out and give the proper pauses, give the proper intonation, so it feels good in the ear, it takes a really long time to say that many words. Even one page of 350 words, that's like a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You wouldn't think it just looking at it. But I'm going to look into that. Hopefully I'll be able to figure something out. I don't know. If worst comes to worst, I'm going to see if I can find someone who's properly skilled to the task, though. Because one of the lessons I learned when trying to record this thing a couple days ago was that I'm reasonably good at speaking words with my face hole when I open it and my tongue goes up and down and words kind of dribble out. But when you have to play multiple characters and give them all each their own kind of special voices and make sure you do justice to the special intonations that you had in your head when you were writing the words that are now in front of you that you're trying to read from, it's kind of a disaster. I didn't feel like I was doing justice to the book that I'd literally written. And that's never a good feeling to have. So, maybe I'm too close to the source material. I just don't know. If worst comes to worst, I think maybe I might be able to do some kind of stream thing, where I literally, have the printed book in front of me and just do, a narration stream or something. I don't know, if people would be interested in that, maybe I'll be able to do that if I can't get something professional recorded. Because I'd like to get a version that people can just plug in their ear holes and just, when they're commuting on their train or something, they'd be able to listen to it. Because I find myself listening to a lot of podcasts now as well. It's a good way to kill some time if you're busy and you're doing stuff, I don't know. We'll see if I can figure it out. Ooh, Jason, that sounds interesting. I'll hit you up later or tomorrow with it. Oh, sweet. Okay, can't wait to hear it. Timber the Wolf. When can we hope to get our paws on a paper copy of She? Okay, here's the thing. The ebook version is 100% finished. I could send it out tomorrow if I wasn't trying to do a simultaneous release. So that is good to go. Woo! The print version, that's 95% done. There's only one thing I'm waiting on, and that is an illustration on the back. And I've actually got a very talented artist, and I can't believe my luck. But somehow I managed to get a window in. So I have a commission slot for that last little illustration. And once that illustration is done, I could start printing a week after that. So that's pretty much all I'm waiting on for that. And the audiobook problem. Jeez, I felt like that's been half my life this year. But yeah, I'm seeing if I can figure that out. If worst comes to worst and I can only release a physical copy and an ebook copy, I'd be able to do it a week after I get the final illustration done, whenever that is. So keep your eyes peeled for that, hopefully. If you want any updates, they'll be on my website, T-LARC.com, with a dash, T-LARC.com, because obviously it had to be inconvenient, because otherwise what's the point of typing it? And my Twitter, because all the updates will also be on my Twitter, because I don't have any social media platforms apart from Twitter, so. Exodus Arias, hello, how you doing? You doing good? Happy Sunday. Happy weekend. God knows we could all use one after that crazy election. Alexander Lacroce, or maybe it's Lacroce. Oh, that's a beautiful name. Hey, how you doing? Do you have an ETA on the illustration? Well, here's the thing. There's no hard deadline on when I want it by. It's kind of just when you can next fit me into the slot with the artist. I'd really appreciate it if I could just get it done by then. So, I think before the end of the year, essentially, for both the illustration and the physical printing of the book. I definitely think I can have it in before the end of the year. Now, I'm going to cross my fingers and my toes and my arms and my legs and everything else that's crossable. I'm crossing my eyes as well. I don't know if you can tell because I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep that, but I really, really, really hope so because I've been working super, super, super hard on it behind the scenes to make sure everything is, everything's formatted properly and it looks really beautiful. And I want it to be something I'm really, really proud of. So, hopefully before New Year, if I can do it. I'd like to have it out before Christmas if I can help it, you know. I think that'd be cool. Like, so I could put out something and be like, hey, it's the perfect Christmas present. And everyone on the internet can be like, oh, a book about, like, someone dying. Like, and the point is that they're dead. Like, oh, that sounds like such a good Christmas present idea. And I can be like, yeah, it is. Like, I'd love that. I mean, it's such an amazing advert idea. Like, trying to convince someone that just reading a book about how someone dies is, like, a good festive experience for the holidays. That would be great. I'd love that. Exodusarius. Also, I'm surprised you're using T-LARC's voice still. Thought that part of your life was over. No, of course not. T-LARC will be as much a part of me as I'm part of me. The only reason I didn't use my voice in one of the things was, I thought the narration sounded better just with some different voice. So I used a different voice in the Great Wolf narration, which is also on my YouTube channel. But, you know, that doesn't mean that that's my voice. It just means that it's another voice. I don't know, maybe the person behind all of this crazy stuff actually has an Irish accent. Or maybe they're not even human at all. Wouldn't it be weird if I took my head off right now when underneath was just the head of a completely normal-looking fox? I mean, I don't know about you, but that'd be pretty darn freaky. I don't know, maybe I'll do that at the end of the stream, just to really cap it off. Just to really tingle your taste buds. Oh, you're welcome, Alexander. Thanks for turning up. I hope it stays on that schedule. I hope it stays on that schedule as well, seriously. Because I've been working super hard on it, but there will be some stuff in the interim, hopefully to tide you over until something more solid releases. So, fingers crossed. Fox croissant. Okay. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I entirely agree with the concept of a fox croissant, and I actually want 5 on my desk by next Tuesday. Just freshly baked fox croissant. With some strawberry jam on the side, maybe a cup of PG Tips tea. Oh my god, that sounds so good. Oh, I'd love that. Just maybe with like a little fairy cake on the side as well. Just a little fairy. Oh, that'd be amazing. Oh my god. I've got to stop thinking about food right now, or I'm just gonna have to go downstairs and get a donut or something. So, anyway, Fuwo. Is there any project or ongoing thing where we fans can somehow help out or chip in? Oh no. See, here's the thing, Fuwo. I'm quite proud of the fact that I've sort of been doing this independently so far. Patreon is this big monolith that artists big and small can go into, and Patreon's been responsible for funding some truly amazing endeavors in writing, in YouTube, in art. For one thing, Lindsay Ellis, who creates some really interesting videos. She did a trilogy about the Hobbit movies that I think is some of the best work that has ever been released on YouTube that I definitely recommend. She's basically entirely funded by the stuff she gets on Patreon. And occasionally some sponsored stuff as well, but don't worry about that. But I think what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to stay independent to the point where if I disappeared for 6 months and then came back and said, oh, I made a thing, here's the thing, do you like the thing? If you don't like the thing, tell me and I'll cry myself to sleep at night. And I mean, that sounds depressing, but I feel a lot more comfortable with that than, like, feeling like I have to put something out, because I've got people every month that are just throwing, like, donations and tips towards me, like, in the hope that it'll manifest into something. Like, I've never worked that way as an artist. Inspiration doesn't grow that way, you know? It's not something linear like the seasons. It's more like, I don't know. It's more like the weather, you know. Instead of monthly seasonal weather, it's more like sometimes you'll get an earthquake of inspiration, and sometimes you'll get a typhoon of inspiration, and sometimes you'll get a drought of inspiration. And you can kind of tell with the equipment we've got, which is very advanced, to a certain extent when the next drought's going to be, and when there's going to be a hurricane or a typhoon, and you can kind of plan for it. But you can never quite tell when one's going to strike, or how long one's going to last for, or what the true impact it's going to be. And that's been my experience with inspiration anyway. I can't just flick it on and off. And apparently I can't click in these gloves either. Oh, how depressing. Oh my god. These are just as bad as my normal paws after all. But yeah, I can't turn it on and off. So as long as I'm doing stuff in dribs and drabs, and just doing releases every now and then, I'd rather stay 100% independent, because that'd honestly make me more comfortable as an artist. Because that means that if I turned away tomorrow after releasing She and I was like, okay, I'm done, I'm going to be a gardener now, bye. Like, I don't know why I would do that, because I don't even like gardening, but if I decided to do that, I would feel completely comfortable and safe in the knowledge that I put stuff out, people liked it, people that really liked it, like, gave something back, and I used that to fund future projects, and then I went and did my own thing. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You know, like, I'm not on the payroll of anyone at the moment when it comes to this creative stuff, which allows me to be as creative as I can be. If I reached a point where I was being funded, even on a semi-regular basis, by people that love my stuff, I don't know, I think the pressure would be too much. It'd be stifling. I don't know if that'd be a conducive environment to motivation, or if it would just sink the motivation, like that giant iceberg that sunk the Titanic. I don't know. It's definitely something to think about, though, because at least with writing you can do it somewhat regularly. With videos, like, if you don't have a proper environment to film, you just can't film. With writing, if you can literally drag yourself out of bed, like, come up to the keyboard, set yourself down, and just go, okay, I'm gonna type for a while, you can write. Like, that's literally all you need. Even if every word is just blah. Like, you can write blah 500 times and you've written something. So, I don't know. For now, I'm just gonna leave it completely up to the discretion of the people who like the work that I do. If you like my stuff, please share it around. If you really like my stuff and you want to see me make more stuff like that, send me a tip. I do coffee tips and PayPal tips. And you can say in the tip, like, what you want it to go towards. If you want me to buy more music equipment with it, or if you want me to get some stuff for a video in it, you can tell me in the tip as well. And if you really, really, really like my stuff, honestly, more than the tips, just to come over and just say, hi, I read this thing, or I listened to this thing, and I really, really liked it. And I sent it to my friend, and they liked it as well. And, you know, if there was a story to go along with that or anything like that, honestly, I kind of appreciate that more than the tips, because the tips can kind of put pressure on you to keep making the same stuff. But just to hear that something you've made has had that kind of impact on someone, I mean, I don't think anything's motivated me more than that. So that's kind of what I appreciate more. Like, if we're talking about different kinds of currency, you get financial currency from people, you get motivational currency. Like, hearing someone's like my stuff is the greatest motivational currency that I've ever received from anyone. And that's kind of the stuff that keeps me going creatively. So that's what I really appreciate. And that's not to say that I don't really appreciate everything that people are doing now, because this is absolutely insane. I had no idea anyone would be tuning into this. And I'm so over the moon for every single one of you. If I could just send you all the kisses and all the love, I absolutely would, because you are all amazing. Thank you so much for this. PR Wolf, T's voice is best voice? I mean, T entirely agrees with you, but that's because he kind of has no choice. I kind of think it sounds like, you know, like a gay American huffed too much helium and now his voice can never come down again kind of voice, but that's just me. Oh, thank you, PR. I didn't see the follow-up. Thank you very much. Corvra, so why is T blue and yellow? Okay, here's an interesting thing, Corvra. I don't know if I'm saying too much now, but get a picture of a fox on the internet. To get your favorite fox. Fox in the snow. Fox like with his nose like touching a leaf that's just falling down from the sky. Baby fox that's teaching another baby fox to levitate like a genie. Like, just get your favorite picture of a red fox and do a little color inversion in Paint or Photoshop. And you might be very interested to see what colors a color inversion of a red fox would produce. And that might give you a clue as to why T-LARC is blue and yellow. Maybe. I don't know if I'm being too subtle there, but yeah, so that might have something to do with it. Oh, Fuwa, of course, yeah. I remember that you once asked people to send in voice recordings for something. I did an animated short called Another Day, which is on my, it's not on my YouTube, but it is on my Twitter. And I asked for, like, voice actors to send something in. And the response was fantastic. I got like 4 or 5 people that had these, all of them had voices that were really good for animation. And so I sort of whittled them down and thought, which is the right voice for this fox character that I've put in there. So absolutely, I'll bear that in mind if people want to take part in like animated projects I'm doing and they want to chip in and lend their voices to something. That would be fantastic. See, this is the thing about social media. Oh my god. Social media is a nightmare because I go on there and I doom scroll for just, oh god, it feels like hours at a time. Because you reach a point where if you're not on social media, you feel like you're constantly missing something. You have to be up to date. Because God forbid there's something that happens in the world and you don't know about it. But on the other hand, it can facilitate bringing people together for stuff like that. Like artistic collaborations, which are amazing. I really ought to do more stuff like that, but I've tried to be independent and self-sustaining for now. Maybe I'll do some collaborative stuff. I mean, God knows it'd be easier than doing literally everything yourself. Yeah, maybe that'd make me slightly less insane when I'm working on all this stuff, I don't know. Shadow Mist! Oh my god, T-LARC, you're back! What? What's on my back? What is it? Oh my god! Is there something on my back? Is that a Donna Noble reference? Is that a giant time-traveling beetle or something? No, but seriously. Hey, I'm back. How are you doing? Thank you for tuning in. Shit, my friend forced me to create a Patreon page and set up a few ads. After a while, I don't feel that's what I want to do. Where everybody... Yeah, exactly. It's the same with me. There's nothing wrong with Patreon. I just think the kind of art you have to do is a certain kind of art that you can just put out on a regular basis like that. It has to be a kind of thing that you can... It's like a cycle of production that you can keep going like an industrial machine. I don't think it facilitates smaller artists that can just come and go and come again, you know? Like, I think that's kind of for career artists that literally live on what they do. Because at that point, if they're not making art all the time, they're in bigger trouble anyway. So, it doesn't matter as much to them. But for the smaller people, who don't know if they're coming or going and just want to kind of make stuff and put it out there, I think it can put a lot of pressure on them. Like, you never want to feel like you should put something out for the sake of engagement as opposed to because you thought people would like it or because you're proud of it. Like, I think to a certain extent, social media is responsible for that kind of attitude. And I don't think it's an evil attitude or even necessarily an awful one. But I think it puts a lot of pressure on, especially younger artists as well. That is just not conducive to them making the best art that they can make. I kind of think you should just make art for yourself. And even if it means that you can't really monetize that, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you don't have to monetize everything. I mean, I say that. I did put a donation link at the beginning of the stream, didn't I? Should I shut up now? I don't know if I'm making any sense. I'll shut up now. I hope I said something cogent about that. Oh, thank you, Shinzo. It's good to be back. Do you like my bow tie? I haven't worn this since Confuzzled. Crazy, right? I don't know. Hellraiser, is there any artist, album, song, whatever that has influenced you or your art the most? Okay, Radiohead. Radiohead, absolutely, 100% Radiohead. All of their albums, stunning albums from beginning to end. You could listen to their entire discography and never be bored and always want more. And even going to the B-sides, there is some stuff on the B-sides that is as good as the main creative output from bands that I love as well, which is fantastic. So I definitely recommend all of Radiohead's discography. In particular, In Rainbows, which I think personally is the absolute best thing they've ever done. I don't think anything they've made before or since has come close to just getting that perfect combination of originality, experimentation, creativity, but most importantly as well, listenability and replayability as well. It feels like it's endlessly reinventing itself, and I've never listened to any other album that's come close to that. Also, Hail to the Thief is pretty damn good as well. Actually, Kid A is not bad. A Moon-Shaped Pool is pretty damn amazing. it ends and begins and ends in such a stunningly beautiful, tragic way as well. Okay, computer's pretty awesome. Okay, just listen to all of Radiohead. All of Radio, and Everything as well, which recently released its fifth album, Reanimator, which definitely reanimated me after this dismal 2020 year, honestly. Thank you for your question, Hellraiser. Demetria, should have sent an audition myself and doing on and off voice acting for a few years. Lost my confidence though. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Demetria. In all honesty, voice acting is kind of something I struggle with a hell of a lot as well. It's not even as much just saying stuff as it is plucking up the courage to sit in front of something and do it. Like, commit yourself to, like, the act of recording. There's something about that can be very, very difficult. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm a bit of an extrovert, which I think is a term that people coined to mean, like, an introvert and an extrovert, or like an introvert in certain scenarios and an extrovert in other scenarios. It's just, I don't relish people seeing me like this. And it's amazing that anyone's here, but it's also terrifying. And I think that has something to do with it. Kind of like the artistic equivalent of pea shyness, to take this down to a 5th grader level of embarrassment. Like, when you're in front of somebody, there's something like that creatively, like, clenches you up. Like, in my experience anyway, that's definitely what I've had. And that's why I think getting a suit and being able to make a character helped me to sort of express that. Because I've never had a problem talking with people, but, like, doing stuff creatively, it definitely helps to do it under an umbrella and have, like, a little bit of distance between the art and yourself. And I think that made the world of difference for me. Not even necessarily having to spend, like, way too much money putting, like, fuzz on your face, but just having some distance from it, even if it's just a persona. Like, no comedians talk the way they do on stage as they do in real life. All comedians have a persona. Like, you need that, like that crash mat between you and what you do. I'm not quite sure why, though. I wonder why that is. Maybe it's because you can't afford for people to tie you too closely to what you make. Either because it would be horrific for your personal image, or because it would change the way that people see you. I don't know, that's kind of like a metaphysical question. Like, if you construct yourself into what you think people want, and then people see you as the thing that you've constructed yourself to what they want, and they act as if that is the real you. Like, does that become the real you? I don't know. Didn't I start the stream by putting, like, a load of crushed tea bags on a pizza? Hey, well, that's what you came here for, right? Like, it can start with terribly unfunny humor about pizzas, and it can end on deep metaphysical questions of identity and creativity and all that good stuff. I mean, I hope that answered your question. It almost certainly did not, though, so I do apologize. Oh, Cobra. Oh, wow. Invented fox color matches perfectly. Right? Not quite, but incredibly close. Yaha. Edward Puddock, or Puddock. Where are the paws? What do you mean? I got paws? Serious question? I can't do anything in those big face-covering mittens, and I mean, like, anything. Like, there was a person up in the comment section that said that when they met me at Confuzzled, I tried to pick something out, like a business card, for like 5 minutes with my paws. And people laugh at you like, oh, look at that dumb little fox trying to pick stuff up. It's so funny. He's like slapstick humor. Oh, look at him. But the reality is that you literally can't pick anything up. Like, that wasn't a comedy bit. That was like me being helpless. And like trying to hide that by going like, no, it's just a joke. You literally can't do anything. You cannot do anything in those damn things. Which is why when I strap into my suit and I put little Velcro things on here that make sure that there's no skin showing, like committing to the bit, I'm like, okay, for as long as I'm out here, I'm in character. Because you may as well be. Because you you're limited so much from doing what normal people do when you're in that getup. It's like you have turned into a fox. You can't do normal stuff. You can't even drink. Like, I still haven't mastered the art of, like, putting a straw in my plastic face and drinking. So I just wait until I'm out of it, personally. And if you're talking about, like, feet paws and stuff, like, I don't do that. Like, if I actually had paws on this video, there'd be a lot of weird people on Twitter being like, oh, look, paws. And I have no idea why, but there are a lot of people that just say that. And I don't have paws anyway, so, like, if you really want to see paws, go get me a set of paws. Like, there are way too many people that are weird on Twitter about that. I'm just not gonna wear them. Ooh, Demetria, I recommend Arion as a personal favorite. All the albums are rock, metal, opera, and tell some awesome stories. Well, that's fantastic. I might have to check that out. Because, in my opinion, the best music, the best albums are obviously ones that tell stories, whether it's stories about heartbreak or stories about life and death, sexuality, adolescence, all of that good conflicted human identity stuff. That's great. I could listen to that stuff all day long. Timber the Dragon, what's your favorite accent to act in? I'd have to kind of say American, because it's kind of the dominant cultural force at the moment. So it's kind of the one accent that nobody really has to try too much with. Because if you just say, like, do a British accent, you'll do, like, oh, top of the morning to you. Oh, I don't know, I can't even do a bad British accent. Or they'd say, like, alright, governor, and they do, like, a terrible Dick Van Dyke impersonation. Like, Americans really struggle doing a proper British accent. But if you ask, like, a Brit, or just anyone from Europe or anywhere, to do, like, an American accent, like, there is some kind of generic American sound that a lot of people can just do. And, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it just kind of captures that Americanness that I don't think is nearly as easy to do with a British or Australian accent. Just for some reason. I don't know. I guess American would have to be my favorite one. Because it's kind of the only one that I can do on a semi-regular basis, I mean, that is if you think this accent's convincing. If you don't, like, comment, subscribe, and tell me why. or don't subscribe and unsubscribe and be like, I can't listen to this guy do a fake American accent. I mean, I say that. There's no reason to say that this accent is fake. Maybe I am American. What a weird thought. Syntax Sidechair or C-Chair, what is your opinion on the J.K. Rowling situation? My opinion is that some of the best artists can be the worst people, and anyone who has who knows about the origin of the Cthulhu myth knows all about that. That is an incredibly tough question, especially because there are some great musicians as well who have made the most wonderful songs, and they're just monsters inside. And sometimes it's not found out until years later, so then you have to grapple with the fact that you can't make moral decisions regarding should I give these people money, and should I encourage them, and should I overlook stuff, because it happened decades ago. Like, you've already supported them. It's not a question of whether you should do it, it's a question of what you should do morally in the aftermath, like just how you deal with it. I don't know, it's a huge question. Ultimately, I think all I can say is you should do what you feel most comfortable with morally. When you find out that an artist you like or admire has done something that conflicts with what you believe in. It's not really a satisfying answer, is it? I know it's not, but that's kind of what I think. And if you're asking me whether I think it's right or wrong what she said in the first place, I absolutely think it's wrong. And I think, considering all the science that is there, I think it's absurd that someone with such a public stage platform could just say things that just don't make sense. I say that, but there are people who peddle homeopathic remedies. Like, it's not the turn of the century anymore, and they're still getting away with it. So, what do I know about science anyway? I think it should be regulated a lot more. I don't think you should be able to say things that aren't science or science, you know. The information is out there. We've had decades of studying the effects of what happens with regard to sex, gender identity. Sociologically, you know, we've got records on this stuff. Like, you can't just keep saying these archaic, prejudiced notions as though that's what science is now, as though science hasn't changed since, you know, the Nazis burned documents in World War II Germany, as if the 1960s is still the modern times, as if we're still chemically castrating gay people, like Alan Turing. Like, you can't pretend this faux science. That almost annoys me more than anything else. The fact that anyone can think they're right when they just so definitively, objectively, are flying in the face of decades of evidence and scientific theory from the people who actually know what they're talking about. I think if J.K. Rowling genuinely cared about the issue, what she would do is she would shut her mouth and she would say, I am going to do nothing except post the findings from the most advanced scientists, sociologists, from the people who know the most about this subject. Ultimately, if what she's interested in is truth, that is what she would do. As far as I'm concerned, that is not what she has done, and so I'm forced to conclude that she is not the most interested in truth. And whatever agenda she has, truth apparently isn't part of it, because if it was, that's the first thing that I'd do. I don't know, it seems like common sense to me. I don't know. It's a big issue, but I hope you managed to wrangle some kind of answer out of that anyway. It's a tough one. It really is a tough one. Because there are artists I like. There are artists that have made stuff that I like that are not objectively good people, like, at all. And deciding whether to support them anyway. In some cases, you can consume their work without supporting them. In other cases, you just can't. So, it's tricky. Hellraiser, I could DM you the videos rather about the ring soundtrack. Do you mind if I do? No, of course not. Shoot me a DM. Always happy to say hi. I don't chat on Twitter. I'm not a chatty person. If 100 people like DM me saying, "Can I be your friend?" I'll be incredibly terrified because I literally don't know how to react to such a question like that. I don't do that stuff. I have no idea how to reply to that. But if you want to say something or comment on something or you have a question for me, absolutely send me a message. Shift. How much would you like comedians if they were the same in person as they are on stage all the time? No, exactly. That distance is part of the reason they get away with some of the stuff they say. Like, the fact that they're playing a character is part of the humor, is the fact that you know that what they're saying isn't literally who they are. Like, the conflict between assumed identity on stage and actual identity behind the scenes can be the punchline in a lot of cases, and it can be really funny. Okay, next question or comment or thing. Dimitri, I learned an Aussie accent from attempting to imitate Sunny Dingo. Got it fairly nailed down now. Well, I have to bow down to thee, because I tried doing an Australian accent, and there are a couple of syllables that everyone can get right. Crikey dingo wallaby, shrimp on the barbie, all that stuff. Like, those words were made to be said in an Australian accent. But then they're like, can you just say, like, a normal sentence? Or can you say, hello, my name is blah, 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 in an Australian accent? And I melt apart. It's not easy at all for some strange reason. I always end up falling into a Kiwi accent for some reason, which, despite the similarities, are definitely not the same accent, as Kiwis will be incredibly quick to remind you. Trust me, I used to know an Australian. Edward Puddock, I'm still confused about the whole J.K. Rowling thing. Honestly, if you've got time, maybe look into it more on Twitter, but these issues reach a point where it's just not worth wading in the quagmire of the mud that is being slung, because all it can do is take you down with it. Like, ultimately, are you going to be able to fix this situation? No. Are you the most informed about the situation? No. So, learning more about this situation, what can you achieve? Like, potentially you can become more enlightened about it, potentially you might be able to do something about it, but the likely reality is you'll learn what's going on, and you'll be like, oh, those people aren't being very nice. What should I do about that? And the reality is, you can't do anything about that. So, when your objective to come into the situation was to maybe help out, you ultimately just sort of end up witnessing it from a distance going, oh, that's really bad. Which is kind of what, news has turned into, being 24-hour news, rolling all the time. All you can really do is tune in and go, oh, those things are really, really, really bad. And it's bad that they happened, and I feel sad now, but there's nothing I can do about it. So what was the point of me learning about it? Was there a point? I don't know, the point of the news is just to get you to tune in and feel sad about it. Like, if you... I don't know. I think it reaches a point on social media where it's no longer productive to wade in the muck. Like, if you really want to know what's going on, you gotta read an article about it. Like, pick some sources that you like. Make sure that those sources don't necessarily always align with what your own personal views are. Like, just make sure that you're not just being, played to the choir with or whatever. But, I don't know. Social media's a quagmire anyway. There's a reason I only ever use Twitter, which isn't even, one of the nicest ones. But it's because if I had 2 or 3 social media accounts to maintain, I think my tiny blue fox brain would just explode. And I'm not even joking sarcastically about that. I genuinely think it would. There's so much mudslinging on social media. You guys, you folks, are incredibly nice, and you haven't exhibited any of the signs of social media being, knee-jerk, just so eager to misunderstand you. You folks have been nothing but wonderful. Professor M. T-LARC, how are you able to be so cute? Well, you see, kind of like the Powerpuff Girls, I was genetically manufactured to be, like, an essence of adorableness, so I guess I had no choice but to be cute, really. I don't think I'm that cute. Like, if you do, thank you very much, but, Well, I guess I'm a little cute. I think my bow tie really, that's the cute thing. Like, all of this kind of hangs on how nice the bow tie is. And because this bow tie used to be used in an old Matt Smith cosplay when he was still the Doctor, I think that is what it rests on. So, if you think I am cute and you're asking how you're able to be so cute, my honest-to-God answer right now would have to be because I have this amazing little bow tie. I mean, look at it! I love this bow tie, it's so cute! Hellraiser, I get you, I love Roger Walters' work, but I can't defend anyone who defends Maduro's disaster in Venezuela. Yeah, you see what I mean? Like, you can't decide to just not consume the art of people who are... I don't want to say evil. Bad, whose politics you disagree with. Even people who, in, somewhat passive ways are hurting people like yourself. You can't just decide not to consume it, because there are people right now whose art you consume, whose indiscretions and crimes won't come out for decades. So, retrospectively, you still have been consuming it. You can't avoid that kind of thing. The only issue you have to ask yourself is, now that you know that someone has done something that you disagree with or disapprove of, or can't abide yourself just ignoring, now what do you do about it? And only you can answer that question, really. Like, you can argue that it would be morally repugnant to ever financially support anyone who's done something bad. But I mean, some of the musicians out there that, are platinum bestsellers, like, somebody bought those millions of copies of CDs, and people continue to buy them even after knowing who and what they did and who was involved and where they were, because it's all so publicized. Some people don't care. Is that right? I don't know. Maybe it's not right. But does that mean you're going to save the world by caring? No. Should you care anyway? Maybe. Maybe it'll be enough of a difference if enough people care. I don't know what the answer is, though. That's up for you to decide. As for me, I do my best to completely avoid consuming artwork of people I know have done things that have made the world a worse place. In as much as I can. I mean, I still wear clothes that have been made in sweatshops because, you know, I had nothing in my pocket by the time I had to get some socks and boxers and stuff. So you pick them up from Primark and you go, these clothes have not been made in good conditions. I know that for a fact. I need clothes. Like, I'm not going to steal this stuff. That'd be even more morally reprehensible. But at the same time, I'm financing an industry that takes advantage of people in incredibly vulnerable positions. I know that's not the same thing as supporting artists that have done bad stuff, but it's the same kind of ballpark of supporting people financially who take advantage of others in very real ways. And I just wish I had a more solid answer than just, I think you should do your best. But right now I don't know if there is a better answer. If anyone has a better answer, genuinely, I would love to hear it. But I don't know what to do. I think you should just do your best. That's all I got. Thank you for your question, though. So, next question. Professor M, do you consider yourself an author or a teacher? I don't consider myself a teacher because I don't think I've ever taught anything useful ever. But some people may disagree. I think I consider myself an author purely because I have published works. Like, I got a book out, and I got a short story out, and I got another book pending, and I've had it sort of for free up on the website. So, since I've published stuff, I think that makes me an author. I guess I'd say I'm an author, so yeah, I think so. Do you think I'm an author? Actually, I think there's a distinction between author and writer. A writer is someone that writes. If you decide to write something one day and you make a little story out of it, you're a writer. Does it matter that no one's read it? No, it doesn't matter. People can be a sculptor without having to see all of the all of the sculptures that you've made. Like, you don't have to show anyone what you've done for it to exist and be valid in its own right. I'd say you'd still be a sculptor. But I think being an author is just when you've published something. Like, it could be a poem in a poetry compendium. It could be a short story. It could be an enormous, crazy tome, like a Game of Thrones. If you've published anything, I guess that makes you an author. But I don't think that's nearly as important as what you do with it. Like, I think some people who would only self-identify as writers have made better works than some authors have made, even if they haven't been as successful. It's more important what you do than what people think you are and what people would call you. I'd say anyway. I don't know, you might have another opinion, I don't know. Hellraiser, can we call you just T for sure? Of course you can. You can call me T-LARC, Maelstrom, T-Light, that's the light version that's no fat. You can call me T-Rific if you like. I mean, T-Rific is kind of only reserved for people that really, really like me, because, you know, it's a high honor to be called terrific in any regard. You know, I really appreciate it, because it's a terrible pun at the same time. And as a hack like me, I am always appreciative of the most terrible puns ever constructed, and T-Rific actually is pretty high up there, so I love T. T's great. PG Tips T is the best T, though, obviously, so yeah. Shinzo Ashiro asks, are you going to be attending cons again when they open again? If so, which ones? Here's the thing. There was this thing that happened the first time I went to Confuzzled that kind of cemented why cons aren't my thing. See, if you go to a sports game or to the cinema, you're not going to meet other people. You're going to sit down as a member of the audience and you're going to consume a kind of work, something that's going on. If you go to a convention like Confuzzled or an anime convention, your purpose is to meet people. It's a social event. Like, if you go there for the whole time and you just sit in your room, you can say you've attended the convention, but you haven't really done a convention. But I'm not sure I'm comfortable meeting so many people. There was one person that I met at Confuzzled, and he asked for my picture, and of course I took it with him. And I never saw it again. I presume he still had it on his account, but he just took it with his phone like that. And I thought nothing of it, because I only met him and talked to him for about 2 minutes or so. But on my way back, when the convention was over, I found out on social media that this guy had a call-out post that was made about him, where this person that was underage said that he'd been plied with alcohol by this individual. and that he'd done some other less savory things, like really not good stuff at all. And there was another corroborating account made by another individual that decided to come forwards about it. And the same day this happened, that guy that asked me for the picture that I took with him, his social media account disappeared off the face of the map, and I never heard about him again. Which is kind of terrifying. So I had no idea who this individual was. Somewhere out there, for all I know, a picture of me and him, me like this, still exists, maybe on a hard drive somewhere. Like, I took a picture with them. Like, the thought just makes me shudder. Like, I had my arm around his shoulder as well. I don't know, that impacted quite heavily on me when I came back. Because I just thought, how many other people did I take pictures with that could end up coming out that they did just horrible stuff? Like, I don't want to associate with these people. I don't want to be within 1,000 miles of these people. Is the danger of that happening worth the benefit of potentially meeting and taking photos with some truly wonderful people? Like, I can't balance that on a scale. I can't say for every monster or terrible person or reprehensible individual that gets a picture with me, like, that goes down. And to bring it back on the scale, you need, like, to meet 15 awesome people. Like, it doesn't work like that. That's the only thing really throwing me off cons, though. Because from what I remember, convention panels are great. They're always fun. Convention spaces are always creatively decked out. You meet so many wonderful people. There was a person dressed like Robin Hood when I went to MFF. And there was another person that walked past that I made a joke about him wearing a bed sheet, and that was really fun. There were these two parents with this little kid in MFF towards the end, and we were both suitors, and we like leapfrogged over each other, and we like ran away as the little kid chased us. And that was one of the most adorable things that has ever happened to me in my entire life. Purely because I never imagined that something like that would happen. Like, phrase that slightly differently. Like, these two parents decided they wanted these two guys in masks to, like, run around their child. Like, that sounds like the most horrible thing in the whole universe without any context. But watching this little kid who genuinely thought, like, we were real, like, he didn't quite understand why this fox wasn't, like, a real fox, like, jumping around and leapfrogging. It's just so incredibly cute, and the entire reason that you try and build an illusion in the first place. Because when people, like, buy into the illusion, and they bring it to life with the power of their own imagination, that's incredibly powerful. I think that's kind of why all art is made in the first place. Like, not to just make people smile, or to make people cry, but to inspire them. Like, from the bottom of your heart, to just plant just a little seed that can grow into the most extraordinary thing that you'd never even believe, just with wide-eyed wonder. You know, just on a whim. Like, just one of 10,000 things that happen during a convention. That's amazing. But is that worth the risk of just bumping into people or, being caught up in a scenario that's just horrible, that you could never have predicted? Because there are definitely some unsavory characters that hang around kind of internet sort of communities where it's incredibly easy to be anonymous. And indeed where anonymity is one of the biggest, like, reasons to join in the first place. Like, if the whole point is that you can kind of just dip in and dip out and people don't know who you are, people who aren't the most savory people in the world will just do exactly that, and they'll just reinvent themselves. So, I don't know. I'd like to go to more, honestly. But I'm still trying to wrap my head around whether it would be worth it or not. Not necessarily from a financial perspective, but just mentally, whether how taxing it would be worth it to meet all these awesome people that I look up to, I'd like to, though. I genuinely would. Thank you for your question, Shinzo. Fuo. To get a lighter note and quote the reporter from Hot Fuzz, What does your perfect Sunday look like? What does your perfect Sunday look like? It looks like this bow tie. Because, damn, that's a fine bow tie. Right? I mean, I'm not kidding. I'm really happy with this bow tie because, I mean, this shirt isn't the nicest shirt in the world. And these braces, I mean, they could be better braces, but damn, this bow tie? It's just so stylish. You know, if I could get away with wearing a bow tie 24 hours a day, oh god, you would not believe how much. I'd wear it in the shower. I wouldn't care. I would be the bow tie guy. It even sounds good, bow tie guy. I'd be bow tie guy. Corvra, oh no, you're a cutie. Thank you very much. Shift, you're both an author and a teacher. Well, I will leave that for you to decide, but, I mean, I take it as a hell of a compliment. Alexander Lacroix, or Lacroce. Terrific. I couldn't agree more. I love T, and I love you for coming on and saying hi. So thank you for turning up. Jason Husky, see you later, buddy. Take care of yourself. Have a wonderful week. By which I mean, like, maybe an hour or two before the week's over. Have a wonderful next week, is what I should have said. Have a wonderful next week. Thanks for coming in. Corva, but how many more pictures with good people? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm griping with. How do you balance one with the other? I don't think there is a solid answer to that. I think it just has to be doing what you feel most comfortable with. And I think also just being honest with people. Like, I didn't tell people for a while if I don't go to conventions that that's the reason why. But I think it helps to just have it out there that, you know, I'm not afraid or embarrassed to be associated with people that dress as animals. Because, I mean, look at me. Look at me! To quote The Dark Knight. Like, I dress as a big blue fox. Like, if I thought there was anything embarrassing about this, I'd be an idiot. Look how incredibly stylish this fox looks in his amazing little bow tie. But yeah, it's just a question of what you feel comfortable with. Pierre Wolf, the Confuzzled Domino's pizza delivery foxes were great. Oh my god. I've got to see Leon again. Honestly, that Confuzzled, there was a lot of stuff that happened that wasn't great on that Confuzzled. But Leon completely made it for me, along with the panel that I did with you guys. It's just so much fun, just doing the most absurd nonsense stuff. I think at some point I had a PG Tips box, like, on my head. I legitimately couldn't tell you why I had a PG Tips box on my head. All I knew was that it was on my head. And I can tell you this as well. I didn't drink anything for the panel or anything, so I was 100% sober walking around with a teabag box on my head. If that doesn't tell you everything about conventions, then I don't know what will. So there. Professor M. Oh, thank you. A true gentleman. All I really aspire to be is a fox that has a bow tie, lives in the bins, and occasionally is entertaining. Like, if once or twice over the course of this stream you were like, that's pretty funny, I'd be like, yeah, okay, it was all worth it. Thank God for that, because otherwise I wouldn't know what I'd be doing. That's all I really aspire to. Oh, Hellraiser. What would be your perfect medium to tell your stories? Books, films, comics, some other? Okay. I'd have to say right now it would be literature, so it would be books. But solely because of how efficient it is. Like, if you film something, everything has to actually be there. You know, if you want to film a Wild West, whether you decide to make matte paintings in the background or decide to use miniatures, like, stuff physically has to exist. Like, you know, everything has to be there in some way or another. It's manufactured, whether it's with paints or with models or with, you know, gigantic saloon doors and genuine carpenters, like, coming in and building stuff. If you decide to write stuff on paper, it's all up to you. You have ultimate freedom. You can do literally anything. And what people can do, which is part of what's amazing about this community that I love so much, is if people are inspired by the stuff that you write, they will then bring it to life, and they will, like, draw stuff. And from these black words, inky words, just on a blank page, on a white page, they will pull ideas from that, and they will make it physical. and then they've done what you couldn't do in the first place. So I think that's kind of why I'm preferring books at the moment. Purely because in terms of efficiency and how much storytelling I can get out there, there's no medium that comes anywhere close to writing it down. Honestly, I can't find one. So yeah, that's why I'm writing so much now. I do appreciate, used to make a load of videos, now I'm kind of just writing all the time. That's the only reason why. Like, if I had a budget to get a decent camera and equipment and like film stuff, and I actually had like a cast around me, like we could do character stuff, I'd just film stuff. You know, because then it would be more efficient for me to film stuff than to write it down. So I'm kind of just pivoting to the best medium in any given scenario for how to tell the kind of stories that I'm trying to tell. Right now it's words, but in 10 years' time, I might be making like hour-long hip-hoppers like trapped in the closet or something. I mean, I don't know. That sounds crazy, but it could be amazing, right? Who knows what the future holds? This is a whole new decade. We've just reached the end of the 2010s. I don't know if the 2010s has a name yet. What is it? Like the naughties or the teens? Terrible teens, as they say. I don't know. But yeah, we've got a whole new decade to figure out what kind of amazing art's going to be made out there. Let's see what happens. Thank you for your question. Ooh, Corver, PG Tips is the tea of choice for Andy Serkis. Well, that is fantastic. I knew for a fact that Andy Serkis used to swig this Gollum juice when he was creating Lord of the Rings, which was this like concoction of like tea, lemon, ginger, and honey, and he used to like gargle it like when it was warm on the set of Lord of the Rings, because it was the only way that he could do his Gollum voice and sustain it. Because I don't know if you know about this, about like when you put on a voice, but you don't only change the shape of your mouth, but you change your throat as well. And the kind of voice he was doing was just tearing him up, and he had to invent this juice specifically so he could continue to speak at all afterwards. It was really physically taxing, and you can see it on the screen, like how amazing the performance is because of how much it's taking out of him. It doesn't sound human because the stuff that he's doing to produce this noise that just doesn't sound like a human mouth and a human throat should even be able to come out with it. It's incredibly inspiring for any wannabe actors like myself. It's amazing. So I didn't know that PG Tips was maybe what he was swigging at the time. But I mean, if PG Tips helped Andy Serkis to play Gollum in Lord of the Rings, that's just another reason to believe that PG Tips is the best tea brand of all time. So, the universe proving it again. How wonderful. No, but PG Tips is pretty great. It's pretty great. That's just another reason to think it's great. Fionor, yeah, I can totally relate to that. A thing where I did not open up to the personal side of the fandom at first, but for me, local contacts help. Definitely, definitely. Because the internet can be very impersonal at times. Like, if you meet someone in person, even if like they're wearing a face, you still get to see a face. Like, that adds a physical dimension to the interaction, and it means that you can read body language, and it changes a lot of stuff. If you just talk to people on the internet, they can become like just a long list of profile pictures, and it can get very like it can become a lot. Like, it can be very overwhelming. I know when I first started up, there were a lot of social interactions that kind of, I don't know, I've never been used to like people talking to me so much before. Like, I had a Telegram for a while, and then like a load of people were messaging me to the point where I literally just had to be like, I can't talk to that many people in the evenings for that many hours, because it's kind of sucking up my life. You know, and that doesn't seem entirely fair to say, because it wasn't as though I was bored or I felt like I had to at any point. Like, there were always interesting conversations, but it was just like, it was just the sheer number of people, like, in the world talking at each other. It just grew too much. I just couldn't do it. Like, there are friends that I've had that are lifelong friends that I haven't talked to in a couple of years. Like, that's how often I talk to people, and it's completely fine if we got back in touch, as I have with a couple of folks. You just fall right back into the old routine, and it's like nothing ever changed. So for someone like that to suddenly have all these people like talking to you at once at the same time, it's like sensory overload. I don't know. It's a lot. That's why local contacts can help, because, I mean, first of all, if you're local, you have less, like, voices talking over each other than if you're online. But also, it really does help to be able to put a face to a person. Like, every single person becomes not just a username, it's identifiable. You really get to know them more, and you can, like, have a pint with them. And that's wonderful. I mean, I don't drink, I wouldn't have a pint with them, but I would tink my teacup against their teacup, and it would be wonderful. So yeah, so local contacts, if you can find them, I find they help a lot. Fiona is Chapter 9, the last volume of the book. I'm currently at Volume 7. Chapter 9 is the current one that's still out. And it's not even the whole of Chapter 9. It's like a teaser, because like the first quarter to the first third of Chapter 9 is out. But there's still more to go, you know. I can't really say more about that at the moment because there are spoilers, but yeah, there will be 12 ultimately. There will be 12 chapters released when She Volume 1 is or She, The End Where It Begins is finished, but I can't say more than that. How interesting. Lock and Lock! Hello, hello, Loki. Hello, Loki, but on PC? Do you use a lapel mic at first? Okay, here's the answer to that. I don't. I never do. But I am now, because I had to. Because there was no other way I could record my voice, because inside this much fuzz and muzz and all this good stuff, I literally couldn't hear myself when I was doing tests. So what I had to do was I had to nom this delicious microphone, the wire of which is currently like surreptitiously running down the side of my arm here. And that was the only way I could get proper sound. Otherwise, I'd have had to do the stream with like a black screen and just me talking into a normal microphone, and that would be pretty grim, you know, because then I wouldn't be able to do this. You know, and I don't know why anyone on the planet would ever want to see that. But the point is, you wouldn't be able to see that without a lapel mic. So, you know, thank God for lapel mics. Woo! No, thank T for lapel mics. The glorious power of T. PG tips. Okay, how many bow ties do you own, Jonathan Martin? I think I wish I had a bigger collection of bow ties, because they look pretty swanky. I've only got one, because this was part of a Matt Smith cosplay as the Doctor, along with these braces, and this big, like, tweed Oxford-type jacket that I used to have that was always, like, 5 sizes too long, but I loved it anyway. But, since I lost that, no. It's just the bow tie, unfortunately. Just the one. Just a little... I don't even know what color that is. What is that? Kind of like, not quite crimson, maybe burgundy. Like a single burgundy bow tie. I like it. I don't know. Oh, Razor, that level of dedication is another reason why the World Rangers are the best movies ever made. They are, and they star PG Tips, which is, yeah, it's another reason why they're so great. Maybe PG Tips should have sponsored The Hobbit. Maybe it wouldn't have turned out so horribly then. I don't know. Professor M, what is the name of your book series? The name of my book series is She, and the subtitle has changed quite a bit. Like, it was originally going to be Volume 1, and that was going to be split up in different ways. Currently, it's She, The End Where It Begins, and that's like this series. And The End Where It Begins has 4 volumes, and Volume 1 Flounder is the one that I'm currently working on. So, She, The End Where It Begins will have 4 volumes, and then if people like it, and it all works out, hopefully, I'll be able to do another She series, which will be She, with a different subtitle, and then She again. So, I don't know, fingers crossed, because I've got all this stuff planned out. Like, I'm taking these characters to some amazing places, and I mean, some of the stuff I'm so excited that I have to shove a sock in my mouth so I don't tell folks about what's going on, because I'm so dang excited, because some of the stuff going down is really cool. It's just a matter of getting there, you know. Hopefully I'll get there one day, but in the meantime, in the middle of this crazy global pandemic, I'm just working as fast as I can, you know, while still not compromising on what I think is the best stuff that I can put out there, which is all you can really do. Corver, is the whole Volume 1 going to be the one published? Volume 1 is going to consist of Flounder, which is the first act of Volume 1. So that would be chapters 1, 2, and 3 in the manuscript that's currently up on the website. So that would be chapters 1, 2, and 3, along with a bonus glossary. So, and the reason I'm splitting it up that way, by act instead of one volume as a whole, is so I can do simultaneous releases with the ebook and the audiobook as well, if I can get it filmed. So, yeah, because a lot of authors, like, have publishing houses where they, like, send the text, and then it gets edited, and then they have people that typeset it, and they have people that design the cover and all that. If you're doing all of that yourself, like, it's a lot of work. It's really, really difficult. And I wish I had a funny joke to crack about that, but I just don't. It's like, it's a big investment of time and energy in learning how to do stuff. So, I suppose a funny way of answering that question is, if I was more competent and well-rounded an individual, I could probably just release the whole volume, like, in 2 years' time. But I can't do that simultaneous release right now, because it's too big a thing. So that's why I'm breaking it up, so I can release all the stuff at the same time, each time a new volume comes out. So I'm hoping to have Flounder out soon, fingers crossed. Lock and Lock, upgraded to a lapel mic, recently for the exact same reason. Electricity is not... Isn't it delicious? It's... Oh, no. Oh, it's so good. Oh my god. I mean, the wires kind of tangle you up a little bit. Like, but the electricity is amazing. And you get some pretty good sound from it as well. I mean, I'm literally, like, chewing on this microphone right now. And I wish I was joking, but I'm not. Like, there's no room to move inside of here. It's, like, literally pressed up to my mouth right now. But as a result of that, you kind of get pretty decent sound. I mean, hopefully. God knows, I could have just been, like, muted this whole time, and I could find out at the end that you guys are all just pulling my leg, and I could be like, oh wow, I spent, like, all of this time literally just talking into empty space. And then I just sort of, like, low back in my chair, and just, like, blue light would shoot out of my eyes like the Avatar at the end of The Last Airbender. I'd just be like, oh my god, that's incredible. What am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my life anyway? I never quite know. Answers on a postcard. Next question. Eat the mic. Yes, Pierre Wolf, eat the mic. You gotta sample the microphone. You gotta appreciate the microphone. Someone worked hard putting that microphone on your plate. You gotta savor every morsel of it, because you're never eating that microphone again. You know, you only get that microphone once, so... Oh, make the most of it while you got it. Oh, she, not she, by the way. Okay. Shia LaBeouf? I think that's even more terrible a joke than Terrific, but I love it. Shia LaBeouf. I love Shia LaBeouf. Oh my god, his first project that I saw him in was Holes, and it was amazing. I never thought when I saw Holes that I'd eventually see someone type Shia LaBeouf. That's fantastic. He's a really weird artist, isn't he? Like, he started with, like, a couple of big projects, and then he became, like, an internet recluse, and he stuck a bag on his head and said, I am not famous, or I'm an idiot or something. And then he did, like, this super long live stream that my Scottish roommate at university watched endlessly, where he watched all of his old movie projects, like, live streamed, and, like, 90% of the time he was literally, like, solemn like that, with his face literally moving as much as my face is moving right now. But for some reason, it was so compelling. In all honesty, if I wanted to, like, sit down and talk to someone about their life, he's probably got one of the most interesting lives in the industry, purely because of all the weird, diverse, crazy stuff that's been going on in it. All the way from Even Stevens to Transformers to that little parody that, like, that stage one where he turns into, like, a serial killer and people are, like, trying to murder him. Serial Cannibal Shia LaBeouf or whatever it is. I can't remember what the name is. But that's one of the most amazing surrealist pieces of art on the internet right now, if you want to go check that out. It's so good. Oh my god. So yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf. Oh, thank you, Shift. I hope so. So are you releasing the volumes at the same time, Corvra? No, not quite. I'm going to do them one by one, hopefully. But they will get longer. So this first volume is going to be about 250 pages. The next one's going to be probably like 280. The next one may be 350. Don't quote me. Please don't quote me on that. And future me, if you're looking back at past me, I didn't know what I was doing. Please, I'm just trying to put information out there. But yeah, they're gonna get longer the more I go on. Because like with J.K. Rowling, the more you write, the more you find you need to write. It's kind of crazy how that works, but it just sort of builds on itself. Oh my god, oh my god. Shift, your comment almost gave me a heart attack. Oh my god. If I found out it was off after all this time, I'd actually be impressed that just my physical acting alone was enough to keep people engaged, that they didn't even care what was coming out of my big, doofy, stupid blue face. So that would kind of be, on one hand, incredibly disappointing, but on the other hand, kind of an achievement. I'd be like, wow, score. Like, people just tuned in to see me literally, like, do this. And nothing else for, like, 2 hours. How crazy would that be? Also, it would definitely prove that you've had a very boring Sunday, so thank God it's not muted. Please, jeez. Okay, next question, or comment thing. Okay, DJ just said, hey, Holtz is pretty good. It is, right? I got the book by Louis Satcher as well. It was one of the first books I read after a series of unfortunate events when I was still growing up. And it's really just, it's good. It's not good as children's literature. It's just a good book. Like, oh my god, there's a weird kind of cyclical, like, generations of family repeating itself kind of motif going on. All the characters, not necessarily all the most likable people, but you at least understand what their motivations are and what kind of people they are. Ow, my nose again. Sorry, I keep hitting this poor thing. But yeah, Holes is great, and it made a good movie as well. See, just cycling back around to one of the very first questions, that is an example of a good movie adaptation from a literature source. So God bless Louis Satcher and whoever it is that directed that movie, because that turned out pretty well. And it had Shia LaBeouf in it as well. See, all of these strands, ultimately, we're all connected, man. We're all connected. It's all connected. It's like trees. The roots go deep. The roots go deep into the soil. The roots pull out the nutrients. Yeah, and so on. Fair enough. Okay. So you still go through the chapters, such as refine them, read them again, revisit. Loved especially the world building and the vocabulary. Yeah, exactly. What I want to do is make sure by the time I get to a print copy of any of She, no matter what form it comes out in, it's just the best version of it that it can be. I don't want to have to release another version a few months down the line that has corrections for something as silly as spelling mistakes on it, you know? I don't want to do that. I don't want to sell people a book on the website people can buy and be like, oh, by the way, it's got stuff in it that I will have to correct down the line, but just get it anyway, fine, yeah. No, I'm working very, very darn hard on it to make sure it is the best version it could possibly be. Because it's the same ethos that I have with my music, you know. I work as hard on the post-production stage as I do when I'm, like, recording it and figuring it out. Ultimately, even if I look back on some of the stuff that I did at the beginning and think, I don't know, maybe I could have used a couple more takes. I don't know, maybe I could have used a different instrument there. I at least know that when I recorded it at the time, that was the absolute best work that I could have done at the time, you know. And I'm still pretty proud of it. So yeah, I'm working as hard as I can possibly be on it without, you know, my eyes rolling so far into my head that I give myself a hernia. Edward Puddock, do you like sandbox games, T-LARC? Oh my god. Oh, please don't get me to talk about video games. I've got a whole rant waiting for this. So, I really, really, really liked sandbox games when I was first introduced to them. Stuff like, I didn't even really play GTA that much, but like early Assassin's Creed, that sort of mixed sandbox with like adventure parkour style gameplay. I couldn't get enough of it. I was so big on it. I bought all of the games. Huge. And the problem with sandbox games is the same way gritty FPS games were like the mid-2000s, like it was the dominant like genre that all games had to kind of base themselves on. Sandbox games became the next dominant, so all of my favorite properties just kind of morphed into sandbox games, where you have stuff on a checklist that you have to tick off. You got gigantic maps that you have to explore that don't necessarily even have the most interesting gameplay in between each like point of interest. You just kind of have to jog on up there. But I guess I can't blame the games for pivoting to the most dominant kind of game that exists on the market. It's just that I kind of fell out with the genre after a while. Like, I think the last truly innovative, interesting game release that I played that really switched things up was Portal, way back in like 2007 or 8 or wherever that was. And I think it's kind of depressing that after all this time I still haven't found one since that had that much of an impact on me. But if less games were trying to be sandbox games, maybe the next Portal would have come out by then. That would have really just switched things up and made you just think in different ways. I don't know. At the same time, Portal was an FPS, so I can understand if you listen to that and you're like, yeah, don't pretend it's something new. At the end of the day, you were still pointing the gun at stuff and shooting at it. GGS, thank you so much. Video games! Timber the Wolf, Timber the Dragon, I'm going to have to head off, but thank you for doing the stream. It's been great. Is there a way to watch the rest later? I'm pretty sure I'm going to upload this to my channel later, so if you look on my channel, it'll just say something like the Come and Say Hi stream, or Tea Time. Oh, Tea Time, that's pretty good. Okay, maybe it'll say Tea Time. It'll be on the channel later, so don't worry about it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you had fun. I hope it wasn't rambling your ears off too much. Thank you. Ship, there's always something to improve if you dig deep enough. You'll never finish anything if you wanted everything perfectly perfect. Most of the things others want won't even... that is very true. That is very true. I guess my problem with sandbox games really is just that I don't like to stay safe and comfortable for too long when I consume media. Like, I had a good few experiences with sandbox games. I'm like, okay, I know what sandbox games are. I've had fun. I want to see what else they can do. And they kind of didn't, like, progress from... They kind of stayed in that niche where they felt comfortable. I'm like, I've already played this game. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, what did they introduce? There was a ship mechanic. Like, oh, that's interesting. But what did 5 do? It had the ship mechanic. It was the same game. Like, why would you release this game? If I wanted to play Black Flag, I can play it any time. What's the point? At this point, you're just stagnating. You're not producing games because you think people need them, or because you think they're going to do anything for the industry. You're producing a game because you know enough people will buy it to give you enough money to keep the company going and to produce the next game. And at that point, I don't know. I don't know about you. These games can still be fun, but I just give up on it, honestly. That said, I'm trying to get back into games. Supergiant's games have always been great, and I'm trying to get my hands on I'm trying to get my paws on Hades if I can, because I didn't really like Pyre very much, but Transistor and Bastion were just two of the most memorable video game experiences I've ever had. Their art style is always crisp and just it's just beautiful. Their storytelling is always interesting. The narration is always spectacular as well. The writing's I never had a problem with the writing at all. It's always just been, I don't know, since Transistor, it just felt a little like the games weren't as necessary to pick up. Like Pyre's story, it was okay, but I couldn't bring myself to play a sports game. It just felt like that conflicted with every cell in my body. I just don't do that. I don't like sports games. If I like sports enough that I want to go watch sports, I'll just go outside and play sports. I don't get it. That's just not for me. But Hades, I can't actually be like Atreus, son of Zeus, or whatever that has to go through the underworld and all this crazy stuff. I can't literally go outside and do that, so why not? Give it a try. Get a crazy sword. And pet a 3-headed dog, because why not? That's the reason I'd really buy the game, honestly. I'd just click pet dog like 100 times, and then I'd be like, this was money well spent. This is why people shouldn't trust me with money. I'm so sorry to the people who donated this to me. Because all I'm going to do is buy Hades with it, and then just click on the dog 150 times until I've petted all of his 3 heads at least 50 times, and then I'll close the game, and I'll say, I'm done with video games. I've already reached peak game. I have pet dog. That is all. I don't know if I'm even joking about that. I don't know, we'll see. Thank you for your question. Hellraiser, what's your favorite song to play? Yours or not, any instrument. That's a tricky one. I don't really like playing my own songs, because my own songs have so much baggage associated with how tough it was to make them. Like, I can't play that stuff casually, it's still too fresh in my head. So I'd probably say a Radiohead song. Something like, I don't know, Street Spirit maybe? Something piano heavy? Videotape's always good, because I don't know about you, but Videotape is one of those powerful songs that still kind of gets to me every time I listen to it. There's just something cosmic about the way Tom York captures something so sad and tragic. I don't know. I'd say probably Videotape. I'd never be able to upload a cover of it because I know all too intimately how much of a masterpiece is and how much I stand to lose by butchering it, even by putting a version of it out. But Videotape, when I'm feeling a little down and I just want to take the keyboard out and just tinker on it a little bit, that's definitely the song that I play. It's really, really stunning. And actually, for anyone who might like Radiohead or want to listen to it, Tom York did a cover of Videotape where it's just him and the piano, and oh my god, I don't know, it might be my favorite version of the song. If you can listen to that, I think it's in the Basement's version of a Videotape, so if you can listen to that and still not feel anything, I don't know what to tell you. If you can do that, then Radiohead is not for you, but it's definitely for me, so yeah, that'd have to be my favorite one. Hellraiser, ever tried strategy games like Age of Empires or Civilization? Okay, my answer to this is yes, I have tried them. I've never liked one. And the problem with that is, I like doing stuff in video games that I can't do in my own head. Like, I want the artist to take me to a world that I couldn't take myself. To give me characters that are bigger than what I can conjure and that are more interesting than what I've currently got going on in here. With Age of Empires and stuff like that, it's a lot of, like, resource management, it's a lot of, like, political machinations, it's a lot of creating engines of war, or trying to get politicians on your side by, I don't know, marrying people to each other and all this. It's like a massive game of resources. It's like, who can be the best at life? It's like the life game. Yeah, the life board game. A board game is games that people had before video games were invented. But they don't exist anymore. So yeah, I've tried them, but I don't know. I don't find the gameplay loop compelling enough, because there's no story to it. The story is literally what you do, like in the game. That is your story. And I guess I don't find my own actions in a game compelling enough to make me play through it like that. I just don't. I prefer story games, to be honest. Yeah. Edward put it, what's a sports? A sports is a thing that people who are more fit than me do. Needless to say, I don't know if you noticed this about me, but I am the noodle arm fox, so I can't remember playing a game of sports in my life that I ever liked. Football was pretty good. You know, when I was like 10. But yeah, I'm not nearly fit enough to get away with playing sports, which is why I would never mock anyone that does. Because each to their own. If you can play sports and you can like it, you will end up being incredibly physically attractive and fit and spry and ready to go, and you will be having fun at the same time. And what's better than that? In the meantime, I'll be curled up outside the bins with a good book. That's my sports, honestly. That's what I could do anytime. I don't know if that's nice or sad, but it's me anyway, so yeah. Astio. Oh, it's Estio or Astio? I hope I got it right. One of the times. What made you acknowledge furries? Do you mean acknowledge as in like say they exist, or acknowledge as in say, hi, I'm a 6-foot blue fox, or I don't quite know what you mean. If you mean like first make my connection to them, it would probably just be the sheer amount of amazing artwork that comes out of him. Like, the whole community is a real mixed bag, but I've met some truly amazing, talented people that, you know, they've kind of shaped the kind of artist that I've turned out to be. You know, I wouldn't take that back for the whole world, so I think maybe that's made me acknowledge furries. If you needed a thing, I don't know. If you can be more specific about the question, hopefully I'll be able to give you a more specific answer. But Hellraiser, sadly I can't really follow you with Radiohead. I've always been more into heavy rock. Here's the thing. Okay, so if you can't really follow me with Radiohead, you'd probably like their heavier stuff that I don't like as much. Which is, you know, maybe you'd be more into like Kaiser Chiefs or The Killers, or maybe even Slipknot if you want to go like into the metal kind of side of things. I can't do that. I've always been a fan of the ambient, softer side of music as opposed to the more harsh, like, I think that's why I connect more with piano than guitar. Because an electric guitar, fundamentally, the sound it makes when you strum it, I'm just not really about that. I like the kind of cold, detached, chilly, yet somehow warm, intimate noise that you can get by tickling the ivories. That's just, it just feels so completely different from any other instrument. I just love it. Then again, I'm not very talented with guitar, so, you know, maybe that's the answer. Maybe I've got Stockholm Syndrome with the piano. I became so comfortable with it that I literally can't play anything else. Who knows? Oh my god, wow. Is that the time? I don't know about you folks, but my clock up there is telling me that this stream has been going for 2 hours and 52 minutes? Is that how long I've been talking? I kind of don't believe that's real. I mean, if it's not real, I mean, obviously this tangent doesn't make any sense and I apologize for it, but if it is real, that means that you folks have been the most amazing folks in the world by making 2 hours and 52 minutes fly by in a flash. I legitimately had no idea this would be going on for more than an hour. I just thought I was going to answer a couple of questions. That's amazing. Thank you for making it so much fun to chill and hang out with you. Thank you for giving me such interesting questions. There have been questions about, like, culture, and questions about books and philosophy, and questions about social stuff. You've given me a real... You've run the gamut, pretty much. Like, if you didn't know me before the stream, you certainly know me after, right? It's amazing. Oh, thank God for that. Okay. I'm glad I pronounced your name right. Thank goodness for that. Sorry, first of all, I can barely see anything through these eyes right now as it is. Secondly, I'm not exactly the most perceptive person without the giant fox face on my face. And thirdly, I don't know, people online have this habit of making their names like with vowel combinations that usually don't go together, and it's beautiful to look at, but it makes it a darn bit difficult to pronounce. PR, 30, what? PR, why did you do that? No! No, no, thank you so much for your donation, but I'm gonna do terrible, terrible, boring tea-related things with it. And I'm just gonna buy a load of tea bags and just have a shower with them. Oh my god, thank you so much! Thank you! Oh my god, this stream has been unreal. I really hope everyone's had fun, because this has been, you know... Considering I feel like I've just been rambling for 3 hours, apparently I haven't. Maybe you like me rambling for 3 hours? If you do, thank you so much for turning up. I could ramble forever. Oh, Hellraiser, it absolutely does. Time flies when you're having a good time. With some great folks as well. And I've got to emphasize before anything else happens, I'm entirely aware of this weird connection that people can make when they're fans of an artist, and I can't remember what the term is. It's like a psychological condition. When people feel like they're close enough to an artist that they know them, and they create an emotional attachment that can develop into something very unhealthy. Like, I don't want you to look at me and be like, I owe this person a penny for, like, going on a stream and babbling nonsense, vaguely entertaining nonsense at them for a few hours. Or, I liked a book that they wrote and published for free online, I should give them money. I don't want you to think any of that. I'm incredibly grateful that you tuned in the first place, and I just want you to have a good time. And if you got any questions, to fire away, but this is all honestly kind of crazy, to be honest with you. I wish I had a more funny observation than just looking at what's going on and being like, you know, thank you so much for coming and saying hi and all this crazy stuff. Thank you. Oh, Cosmo Snowmew! Hey, how you doing? 2 hours 52 minutes according to YouTube. I know, isn't it unreal? I can't believe it. I kind of don't want to believe it. Because if this is how it is, maybe I'll end up doing more, and I definitely don't think the world needs more of me rambling. But that's just me. Oh, thank you so much, guys. No. Thank you so much, folks, and listeners, and audience members, and all that good stuff. You should never feel obliged to always use gender-neutral terms like that, but there is absolutely no reason not to. You know, just to make people feel more included. It does not hurt to do that. I've got to keep trying to do that more often if I can. Because again, it doesn't hurt. It takes nothing. It takes a second of thought like that. Sorry, I still can't click. I've got to learn how to click at these damn gloves, but maybe I'll figure it out eventually. All ears. First of all, your pixel art is awesome. I still look at that art that you did of me and Artie. Thank you so much. But parasocial relationship. Completely. That is it. It's parasocial relationship. All of you folks are commenting it now because I'm getting it after the delay, but that is it. Parasocial relationship. I don't want anyone in the world to develop a parasocial relationship with a 6-foot-tall, noodly-armed blue fox that spouts nonsense into a camera. I just want you folks to have a good time, consume the art you like, and to be happy and okay at a really, really tough time in which, who knows, maybe folks have, maybe folks have lost loved ones this year. I have actually lost loved ones this year, and it's been difficult. I want everyone to be okay. You know. Why did I have to get so somber about it? I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is, because we construct personas like T-LARC or like PR Wolf or like Zillion, it's very easy to build images on what's already an image. Like, we've kind of already created a platform for people to connect with, and I feel like it's easier to fall into a parasocial relationship with like an identity that already exists, as opposed to one that you've got to kind of construct for yourself. And I just don't want that to happen. Partially because people on the internet be crazy, yo. If you take anything away from this stream, people on the internet be crazy. And also because, it's not healthy. And I want what's best for people. So just chill out. Have fun. Thank you so much for tuning in. I mean, seriously, I can't believe this stream has gone on for this long. It's frankly, it's quite despicable. I'll have to apologize to YouTube for, giving another degenerate a platform to spout blue fox-related nonsense on the internet. The anti-gay people won't be very happy about that, will they? I don't know, maybe we should give them something to not be too happy about. I don't usually feel like that. I don't usually feel like that confrontational, but after all this election craziness, maybe the world needs a little more of that. I don't know. Oh, thank you so much, everyone. Oh, I'm trying to look at folks to single out, but you're all just saying such lovely stuff. Edward Puddock, I'm gonna need my special tea soon. By special tea, I hope you mean some kind of delicious, like, herbal blend of tea as opposed to just sticking alcohol in it. Because I think that's what Irish tea is. And the last time I had Irish tea, I woke up 4 days later in a gutter with my pants around my head, and I still don't remember how I got there. Weird, huh? Yes, so by specialty you just mean nice tea, but, you know, whatever works for you. Tea responsibly, people. Always tea responsibly. Enemy LPS, the stream was amazing. I thought I'd spend a little while in here and head off to sleep, yet I'm still here almost 3 hours in and all out of tea. I'm so sorry. Please get some more at the earliest convenience. I'm so sorry. That's 3 hours of your life you are never getting back. And if you come back here and watch any of this tomorrow, you know, even just to go to this very moment and watch me looking at you in the camera dead on and saying, you will never get those 3 hours back. I'm so sorry. But also, thank you very, very much for tuning in. I hope you found it as fun as I did. Imagine if I managed it. If my streams are up to 6 hours, you're fine. Yeah, but Zill, that doesn't count. You're like drawing stuff at the same time. I can't draw and talk. I can barely talk and talk. It's completely different. If I was talented enough to draw and talk, I think I'd be a gazillionaire right now. And I'd literally just draw animal cartoons all day long, because it'd be loads of fun. Okay, no, there's no universe in which I could do that, because I'm just, frankly, not imaginative enough to make cartoons like that on a daily basis. But still, I mean, it'd be amazing. There's this amazing artist that does this thing called the Good Boy Guild. He's like, it's kind of furry, but not really, because they're all just dogs, like dogs who walk on 4 legs, but they've got like little, like RPG, like Dungeons and Dragons gear on. And it's adorable. If I could have an entire existence just drawing stuff like that on streams and just cracking wise with people, oh my god, that'd be great. But I don't have the imagination for that. And I don't have the intellectual dexterity either. As I've just established, I could barely talk and talk, let alone draw and talk as Zill does. All the time, by the way. He does a lot more streams than I do. Check him out if you can, because his streams are great. The ones I've managed to catch just before I slip into unconsciousness on this side of the pond, they've always been great. Luck and Lock. T-LARC, the only Fox News you should listen to. Oh my god. Yeah, I guess. I've been compared to Fox News, but in a good way. That's amazing. I love it. Yeah. T-LARC, the only Fox News you should listen to. Oh god, yeah. I won't stick it on the posters, though, because, I mean, putting Fox and News together in the same sentence, that's a recipe for trouble, honestly. Corver, tea with alcohol sounds weird. No, it's not. It's not as weird as you think. There are a lot of cocktails, for example, that use a mixture of tea and alcohol. The Irish tea, I think, has a whiskey in it. It's the same with Irish coffee. Like, you just make a normal batch, and then you, like, just slip a bit of alcohol in there. And a hot toddy, which is supposed to help you sleep, I think that's another mixture with... You put, like, tea or coffee, and you just add a little bit of alcohol in there as well. Just supposed to soothe the stomach, settle the mind, and get you all buzzy when you go to sleep. And I know I acknowledged at the start of this stream, there are some folks that won't be 18 in here, so if you are going to drink tea and you are not 18, please do not put alcohol in it. Please do not steal your parents' alcohol and put it in the tea. Please tea responsibly. I will not be responsible for any tea-related mishaps. No. No. Okay. Disclaimer over. Oh, Edward Puddock. Okay, just herbs. Okay. Fantastic. You have indeed teed responsibly, as I am trying to do myself right now. Rana has done a 12-hour stream DJing in suit. That is actually insane, because DJing is a lot more physical than people give it credit for, so I have no idea how they managed to achieve that, but congratulations to him. Maybe they could give me a few tips. That's fantastic. Burnpaw, cute fox at where? Where are they? I wish I... Oh, I did see a fox. I saw a fox earlier. Okay, I saw a fox like a couple of hours ago when I was out on my daily walk, because, you know, because I've got no owner, because I'm a mature, responsible fox that don't need no human to lead them around. So I was walking myself, no leash, obviously, because, you know, I'm not into that stuff. Jesus. And and I saw a fox literally like 30 minutes away from my house, and it was the cutest tiny little thing. You think foxes are cute because you see them in pictures, but this one, it was so tiny. It was about the size of a cat, like super like scrawny and super small with these very long legs. I kind of love when I see foxes because I live around a bunch of them. But at the same time, they're always very, very, like, light on their feet, and they're always very, like, skinny. I always feel so bad for them. It must be really hard. I mean, I know I'm a 6-foot blue fox on the internet, like, spouting nonsense, but if you think about how foxes survive, especially in urban Britain, it's really tough. You kind of wonder how they manage. Like, scavenging in bins and all this stuff. It's not an easy way to get by. That's kind of why I picked foxes. It's because they're the perfect branch between the urban and the rural. They kind of exist between, you know, old and new, between nature and machine, life and death. They exist between a bunch of dichotomies that just makes them a really interesting species. Because they've kind of adapted to urban life in a way that I wouldn't say any other species has adapted to. I wouldn't say rats have, because they're so fundamentally different in size, and they've always sort of cohabitated with humans anyway. Foxes, considering how big they are, it's amazing how well they've adapted to urban life. I know I'm just ranting about foxes at this point, but I genuinely think it's really, really fascinating. And if you ever see one, you know, genuinely, you know, don't feed a fox in real life. You're not supposed to. Because it's not because, you know, they don't deserve food and they deserve to die. No, it's because they're very vulnerable. And if you give a fox food and encourage it to trust humans and get used to human contact, it will have a run-in with humans that don't have the same good intentions that you do. And, you know, the next time it meets humans, it might not be so lucky. So as much as you might want to give it some fries from your McDonald's, that's not always the best course of action to take. I know that's a really roundabout way of just saying I really like foxes, but, you know, if you haven't guessed that by looking at this, you know, I don't know what else to tell you. Foxes are pretty great. And they're my personal favorite animal, because why not? Okie dokie. You have no idea what age to start drinking alcohol legally at 18, of course. Oh my god. Shift, you really scared me for a second there. Because it changes. In the US, despite the fact that you can ship yourself off to war to you know, die for the sake of something perhaps less than moral, you can't drink until you're 21, which is really bizarre, isn't it? At least in Britain it's 18, so you can at least get married at the same time you can drink to try and wash the sorrows away, as it were. Corver, my grandpa's a fox that just comes out on his porch. Oh my god, that is so incredibly cute. Oh, see, if you live in the kind of place where you can get away with interacting with wildlife and keeping them at a distance, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, like, you probably appreciate a little help. Hellraiser, God bless the GMT3 zone. Not too far from Europe and not too far from America. Perfect for watching streams from both. See, this is why I tried to time it so that my stream would be at 8 p.m. Because there are so many people around the world who are trying to watch streams at the same time. There is never going to be a perfect time. Like, someone's asleep right now who might have wanted to watch. And there are other people who do want to watch that won't be able to watch. But I hope I've kept it open for as many people as possible, just to say hi and pop in and, you know, chat and stuff. Oh, DJ Jess, oh shoot, got a blast. See you, T, love the stream. See you later, buddy. All the best. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned some stuff. I hope I didn't kill quite as many brain cells as I was expecting to kill. You know, take care of yourself, buddy. All the best. So I'm Brit Parr, so we all know you're but are you an urban fox or a country fox? Seeing as I currently in a house, you know, I mean, obviously I live in the dumpster behind the bins, but seeing as I'm in a house right now, I guess that makes me an urban fox, huh? I don't know, maybe my physical self is an urban fox, but maybe my heart belongs to the country. If that answers your question, because I'm a little bit of an old romantic like that. But if I was a country fox, I'd be a country fox with good Wi-Fi reception, because, you know, I couldn't live without a decent Wi-Fi reception. Seriously, oh my god, I can't even imagine it. Astio, or Astio, I think it's Astio. You said I got it right one of the times, so I'll say Astio and Astio, and I'll get it right at least one of the times again. Oh, sorry you gotta go, but I really enjoyed your stream. Thank you so much for turning up. I hope you have a wonderful evening, or morning, or night, or noon, or whatever it is in your country, and I hope you stay safe during this pandemic. Thank you for tuning in. Shift. Yeah, you've grown very good at giving me heart attacks. I kind of think it's not an accident anymore, but that's just me. Hellraiser, don't think too much about timelines. You literally can't please everyone with it. No, I know, but I'm trying to do what I can. If I can make it easier for folks to tune in and then tune back out again without too much fuss, you know, I don't think it's something I couldn't make considerations for. You know, not the end of the world. Just see what I can do. Okay, so I think honestly, guys, gals, everyone in between, folks, pals, all that good stuff. I mean, not pals, parasocial relationships, all that stuff. Ow, my nose. But I think I've got to call it a day, because I never intended it to last 3 hours, and I think I'm starting to melt. I mean, I waved my paws in front of my face, and I just saw nothing but black, so I'm starting to think maybe I'm starting to hallucinate or something, I don't know. But seriously, I think I'm gonna call it a day right now, but I really cannot say thank you enough for tuning in, for saying hi, for shooting me fan art on Twitter, for sending me a question, for saying 4 years ago or 4 days ago that you liked something I did, or that you were gonna send me a soundtrack of Thunder Outside Your House as thank you for reading a chapter of my book, as one kind person did. All of this crazy stuff that I wouldn't ever believe would happen to me. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for tuning in and for being such kind and behaved and civilized animals with each other. I didn't even know that was possible on the internet, so you have all given me hope for a better future in 2021. I'll tell you that much for nothing. Thank you very much for tuning in. I want you to stay safe. I want you to stay kind. Above all, I want you to stay hydrated, damn it. I've not been drinking for 3 hours, and you've seen the nonsense that dribbles out of my mouth when I've not hydrated. So make sure you don't turn out like this. You know, I was red when I started the stream. Look at me now. Jesus Christ. But yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for everyone who donated. Crazy. All of that's going to go straight back into She and my music and all that crazy stuff. I'm going to keep you posted on that. Jeez. Okay. And because I'm never aware of how much the delay is, I'm just going to switch to my be right back slide, and then I'm going to call it a day. But take care. Be kind. Don't rewind. That was a terrible movie. Peace out. Woo!